Today's show is brought to you in part by Squarespace. Whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas, Squarespace gives you everything you need to make your next move into a reality. Not to mention, they've got beautifully designed templates and customizable features. Making a beautiful website is a simple and intuitive process. Simply add and arrange your content with a click of a mouse. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and enter the offer code BOMBCAST to get 10% off your first purchase.
Hey, it is Tuesday, the 1st of August, 2017. I think August is a fine month for a podcast.
Isn't it?
What do you think?
That's what I've been telling you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You just every morning you come in
August
here
is
and
when
you're
we
like,
turn
all
it on.
August rolls around. Let's have a podcast. Anybody?
Yeah.
I'm checked out from before, but now here I am. I'm ready.
We're
podcast.
well into the second half of the year.
Yep.
You ready to throw down?
Fucking A.
Matt Rory is here.
Hey,
Hello, hi.
I'm here.
Hey, you
Hello.
are here.
First time
You're
in a
present. Yeah, you haven't been here in a little bit.
Little people absent.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Jason A. Striker
Welcome back.
down there on the...
I got all kinds of shit going
Whatever.
on down here. I finally got our overhead cam working again.
Yeah. Hey, hi, hello. I mean, camera's not working.
Where is
that's
that
a big
located?
pain in the ass. I'll never tell.
Way up in the
I'll
rafters.
never tell.
In the belfry.
Yeah.
GameSpot's Peter Brown.
Welcome back.
Holding
Hi.
it down.
Thank you.
What else can we rhyme with your last name?
Brown.
So many things.
Oh.
Man About Town.
Man with the frown.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Jeff's on vacation right now and Ben Pack is sick, so.
So you're scraping the bottom
They're
of
not-
the barrel.
Just saying, they're
Here
not
we are.
This is what you got.
I can hear the reviews coming in now.
No. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What's going on, Matt Rory?
Not much.
How was your weekend?
Playing games.
Yeah.
Had a good barbecue on Saturday.
Yeah?
So it's like barbecue season.
What did you get up to? I feel like you lead an interesting life.
Oh gosh,
This one.
barbecue lasted a long time. My friend had some tri-tip.
Oakland barbecue.
Oakland barbecue outside his apartment. He grilled that shit, and then Monday we sous vide'd some tri-tip.
LA face with an Oakland barbecue.
It was great. So pretty relaxing.
That's a
nothing.
thing.
That's how it goes, right?
Nothing too crazy. Played a bunch of games.
Yeah?
We'll talk about it momentarily.
Oh.
Uh,
Well, okay. Sure.
Or if you want to talk about it
Guess
now.
we can talk about it now.
yeah, let's do
All
it.
right.
Yes, we've gone past our federally mandated. What have you been up to?
I did not mean to jump that gun.
Yeah?
Apologize.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing a bunch of stuff. I got that new monitor, which I probably
You got a new monitor?
laboriously mentioned on EPF.
Wait, really?
Wait, I thought you were just
guys know that-
talking about getting a new monitor. I didn't know
Oh.
that you actually did.
You guys
and
know
you've
that
been
Rory got a new
having-
monitor?
It's,
Wow.
it's impressive.
Had
is all
you
I'm gonna
heard?
say.
I had heard. Yes.
Yeah.
Rumors,
So I've
rumors
been-
about The Office.
I've been going back when I've got a big new 21x9 G-Sync thing. And I've been going back through my Steam stuff and trying to pick up some games that I left off midway through. So I've been playing picked up Dishonored 2 again, restarted Dying Light.
Cool.
I have been yesterday I spent a bunch of time on Path of Exile, which a lot of people
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody here really played.
I wanted
never,
to. Yeah,
I never
it's
played
good.
it, but I feel like we get an email to the podcast like
Yeah.
every 6 months from somebody saying like, you guys should really check out Path of Exile.
Yeah.
Every time I start playing that game, I look at the skill tree and that huge ass sphere grid kind of thing, and I just get super intimidated.
Yeah. Time wise, it's an investment.
It
And
seems
that's
that
what
way,
Keeps me from it.
and everybody keeps on saying you gotta get to the end game, and like that's level 90, I think is the cap.
It's a Diablo type game.
yeah,
right?
Diablo 2 basically.
Just wait. At hour 80, you'll finally get invested. I
I
think.
hear that all the time. So yeah, somebody tweeted me yesterday, and I've always meant to go back and try it out. So I spent maybe 4 or 5 hours on it yesterday.
Does pretty much all this stuff work on that monitor, or not work? But I mean, does it support?
Yeah,
21x9?
21x9. Most games do. The one weird one that didn't was Fallout 4. Which feels like should have been recent enough to actually support it, but
Surely somebody has.
you can
modded
modify it.
that
But
in.
have you looked at like how to install Fallout 4 mods? Like use your favorite download manager and don't forget to edit the INI with all these things, and you have to put in your resolution manually and shit. Like I want to finish Fallout 4 at some point, but I can't be fucking bothered to. Like
PC gaming.
yeah. I mean, I remember mods being, is it 1999? Like mods for like Fallout 3 and Skyrim seemed like they were a lot easier to put together. Fallout 4, I think, has, maybe I'll just, so the weird thing now is I have a monitor that's 3450 by 1440p and a 4K monitor next to it
Inhuman
now.
resolution.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
How big is that other
Drown
4K
in
monitor?
pixels?
Like 30 inch?
Yeah, something like that.
That's
32, I think.
Jeez,
So
man.
just my
What are you
desktop is
doing with all this
taking over.
monitor?
It barely. I actually got a Cable Matters cable for DisplayPort from Amazon, and apparently it couldn't handle it, like the gaming part of it. Can handle the desktop part, so it's sort of flicker on and off
Nice.
during games. So I went back to the cable it came with. But
That's a good sign that you might have
it's too many pixels, probably
too much monitor.
You are too far out on the edge.
But that,
We
and
gotta bring
also,
you back.
so Path of Exile I tried for a bunch of time yesterday, and I replayed Titanfall 2, the single player. When that game runs in 20:9 really well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I bet it looks good.
Yeah.
What is it's curved, right?
Yeah.
What is it like? Like, what is just the physical, the visceral experience of having this fucking big monitor wrapping around your face?
It's not like a semicircle or anything like that. It's like
Yeah.
a really gentle
Pretty-
kind of
okay,
curve. But
okay.
every
you
part of the
kinda-
monitor is basically the same distance from your eyes.
you get like right up on it.
Yeah, I'm
so-
pretty
so
close.
that it's just, like,
I mean,
filling
it's
your
so fucking
field of
big
view.
that it's like halfway. I have a pretty big desk too, like a. Like
I should hope so.
yeah,
All those monitors.
but yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to describe without. It's hard to describe without seeing it in person. It's really tough.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah.
I've been like Watch Dogs 2. I kind of stopped in the middle. I put that back on. Watch Dogs 2. I had really bad, significant performance issues, even with the 1080 Ti, and the G-Sync stuff seems like it's really fixed all this stuff up. So it's a lot of money. Credit cards are.
Yeah.
I'm eating ramen this month.
Nice.
For sure. But yeah,
And tri-tip, jeez.
yeah,
Man.
that's right. It was a Trader Joe's. It was
Just get out there and scrounge as much free food as you can.
we put it in the sous vide for like 5 hours. So we grilled it on Saturday, and then we made it ourselves on Monday.
Rad. You should just roam around Oakland looking for
I won't.
barbecues to
There,
crash.
there are some amazing.
Sustain,
I live in-
sustain yourself on public food.
I live in East Oakland, and every once in a while, these people in the neighborhood just throw up like, "Hey, we got food.
Yeah, totally.
Here's your
Wait,
sign in
wait,
their driveway.
Like people you don't know.
Yeah, in their driveway.
Do you ever go?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Corn
Huh.
in a cup.
Yeah, some of our neighbors actually across the street, they party every
Yeah.
damn weekend. Like there's a bouncy house every other week.
Wow.
And loud music playing. It's crazy, and they always grill out. So whenever we walk by, they're like offering us skirt steak and stuff. And we're like, okay,
Sure.
cool.
We
We
find some birria sometime if you ever have. I've never had that. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah?
it's like
Some
meat
what?
soup. It's like steak soup kind
All
of,
right.
or
Huh.
beef soup.
I'm
It's
in.
Fan
Sure.
or pozole. If you ever find pozole, get some of that.
I think we might live in the wrong city
I think so, dude.
from the sound of it.
yeah, come on over to Oakland.
Yeah, that's my gaming. I've been playing a bunch of stuff
Okay.
on my PC.
Okay. All right.
Not bad.
Well, special guest Peter Brown.
Hey.
What's up with you?
I've been playing a mess of stuff. Most
Yeah.
recently, Tacoma.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
probably the big release of the week.
I finally got
Yeah.
my hands on that last night. Played
Yeah,
about
did
an hour
Okay.
or so.
Which sounds like that might be a significant portion of the game.
Do you remember the
Possibly,
last
yeah.
like section of the ship that you were on?
So I got through like the first like
Personnel.
personnel, and I'm into like bioengineering right,
Right.
now. So and that's kind of where I stopped.
I don't know why I had this is the new game from the Gone Home people.
Yeah.
Fulbright.
Fulbright. Yeah, I don't know why I had this expectation that it was going to be
Something different.
like, well, no, not different, but like an 8-10 hour game or whatever. And then reviews came out, and I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
sounds like it's roughly of a length with Gone Home.
What is the
Maybe,
cost? of
maybe
this one?
longer.
Like
It's
20
like-
bucks.
it's
30?
15?
So remember,
20
Maybe it's 20.
sounds right.
remember the big
Say
thing
random
about Gone
numbers.
Home is like $20 for
I'll look
like
it
a
up.
game you could play in
worry.
90 minutes, which was a
you
very
guys keep going.
valid concern people have if they've gone the same route. Like
but-
I don't mind, like I don't want to have a 8-hour game that's boring.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's value, right? Like,
Yeah,
sure.
no, I mean, if you're trying to tell a tight story,
Yeah.
sometimes
They're about 25,000. Oh, that's a Toyota Tacoma. Okay.
Yeah, that was the funny thing this morning. I looked up Tacoma review, and that was like the first 100 results. And
Yep.
like game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
Do you like it? You finished it.
Yeah, I
right?
finished it. I do like it.
Uh-huh.
And just to talk about the length really quickly, this is sort of a linear game. It's not so much like Gone Home where you have a little bit of freedom. Like
Okay.
you can explore and you can move around, but there's a very set path that the game wants you to go down, and it makes it pretty clear that it wants you to do that.
Yeah, like you won't even get the option to like open doors that you are supposed to go down, but yeah, you'll have to trigger events in order to
okay.
get
Yeah.
the prompt.
So
You are, and you are on a mission, right? So ostensibly, you are trying to, do something in a certain matter of time. But you can kind of deviate and you can mess around with the environment. They're little like artifacts, little objects you can pick up and move around, and there's some cute things that happen with that. But really, the most important thing about the game is how it kind of makes you care about people that aren't really there through the use of these AR characters.
yeah, because they're basically like wireframe,
Yeah, like you'll walk
polygonal
in.
models.
Yeah, you'll walk
representing
into a
the people.
room and there's like matter kind of shimmering, and so you hold down a space bar to like decode the memory of this AR thing, and then it'll play these these scenes with different people talking to each other, and you can rewind and fast forward through time, and you want to do that because not every scene is just in one location. You know, some people might join the conversation after a minute or something.
Yeah, I saw that when I saw it at E3.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was last year, but yeah, like it seemed like these scenes play out across like multiple rooms, some of which have like closed, like some of which are closed. Like
right, so you'll have to watch someone like put in a code. So you
Yeah.
have to like rewind and be like, oh, that's where this is the person that knows the code.
Yeah,
right?
so it seemed like you might have to go back and replay a scene multiple times in different rooms or whatever to kind of make sure you
like little
catch
bits and
everything.
pieces.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if
You
you're trying to
can.
get through everything, and you know, as you're watching the scene unfold, sometimes their like computer monitor like will pop up in front of their head to allow you to like hack into that and get a little more like flavor text, essentially.
Yeah, they all have AR desktops in front of them.
Yeah.
So that's how they do their thing. And
Do those scenes play? Considering like these models are just like single color, they don't have faces.
well,
like,
no.
they're just
voice
kinda,
acting is so good.
Like, yeah.
The
Yeah,
voice
voice
acting
acting,
is really good.
great.
Yeah.
They're color coded, and they even had like an icon on their back depicting which you know, if they're in engineering or
Oh,
something like that.
Okay.
And they have identifiable silhouettes and definitely personalities. I mean, the relationships of the crew, and even with people that are off the ship, like their loved ones, they feel very tangible. They feel real, and that's probably the greatest accomplishment. I mean, without really spoiling the end, there's the sort of ending of the game takes on a different flavor than the rest of the game, and it's like, oh, interesting. I like what this is doing. It sort of comes out of nowhere, and the thing wrapped far quicker than I expected it to.
Can you give us like a top-down like story description of what you're
So
trying to do?
Basically,
without
there's
being too spoilery?
basically there's a spaceship, the Tacoma, and it's more like a space station. Something went wrong. The crew is
Not there.
Sure, not there.
We need like a pithy narrative term for like you show up at an installation that is now deserted because something bad happened and nobody's there.
The event horizon.
And yeah, kinda. And
so you're just basically going there and you're trying to piece together what happened. There's more to it. You don't actually know.
Well, you've been like tasked by a company to go and get a bunch of
Right.
information,
But you don't-
logs and stuff.
But you don't really know why
so
until the
are
end.
you just an investigator basically? It's not like you're not there to like activate the nuclear centrifuge and to open the blah blah blah. It's just figure out what happened.
That's most of it.
Yeah.
That's most of it.
Okay. I'm curious.
You have a role to play.
Okay.
Beyond just investigator.
Yeah. Is there? That's the right way to ask it. Like, would you say watching these scenes play out is kind of the bulk of what you do in the game?
Yes.
I asked because like they kind of publicly made or they talked publicly about having like massively rebooted this game at one point, if you remember.
I don't
Like,
remember. I
oh,
haven't
really?
followed
No,
it
like,
that
I-
closely, no.
So I went to see the like I guess the first version of Tacoma like 3 years ago
Okay.
on a press tour, and yeah, like they completely kind of threw out like levels and mechanics and everything and rewrote a bunch of stuff. Like they basically rebooted the game, but that first version had like a bunch of zero-G stuff where you would like
There's a little bit of that.
you would like have boots that like you kind of walk on the ceiling, like basically we're inverting gravity or whatever in a lot of places. Like, is there any kind of puzzle solving of that nature, or is it pretty much just go from place to place?
The
and, like-
puzzles, if you can call them that, are very, very simple. It's
Yeah.
all about just paying attention to something and being like, I know what I need. I've identified that thing that I need. I'm going to use it now. It's never obtuse in any way like that. The zero-G stuff, you're moving between sections of the space station. You're in zero-G for like seconds at a time, maybe like 5 times throughout the game.
Okay.
It's very
Kind of like
brief.
the main hub, like the center spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say linear. I mean, it is a hallway where you literally progress from one section to the next until you get to the end.
Yeah, the stuff I'm talking about was way more involved than that.
Yeah.
So it seems like they dialed that aspect of the game way back. So I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like this is like largely just a kind of vehicle for storytelling,
Yeah, and then
which is fine. I just
Yeah.
kind of want to, because that's basically more or less what Gone Home was.
sure, yeah, you do spend a lot of time investigating things in the environment, and that is sort of driven by your own curiosity, but that's a credit to the characters and the way that they sort of they endear themselves to you very easily, and you sort of want to know more about them because they're vulnerable, they're passionate, they're skeptical, they're nervous, all these different things that you just want to kind of know, where does that come from.
So well written.
It is very well written.
Yeah.
The characters feel like people. They don't feel scripted. And what's really interesting is that there's the bigger story at play, which sort of comes into view at the end, and the characters sort of are doing their own thing. It doesn't what they believe and what they're doing barely has any ties to the larger story. So you sort of have these two narratives going on, or multiple if you just consider the fact that every character is their own little narrative. But it's so short that like you can't really feel attached to one for too long.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time it introduces the big one, you're like, okay, I'm still trying to keep up with everyone else.
Yeah.
not bad. It's not a bad game, but it didn't resonate with me in a way that was like, holy shit, what an accomplishment this is. But I think people should play it. Yeah. If you don't like quote unquote walking simulators,
or
the derogatory term,
4G simulator,
floating simulators in this case.
yeah,
$20. $20.
$20.
That's not bad.
No. I mean, it's hard for me to put value on games when we get them for free all the time.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, you're gonna pay $12 to go to a movie.
Well, yeah, there's also just the way more nebulous concept of like, well, how good was this? It's like
Right, of course.
something like I don't know, random example, like an Inside is 3 hours for $20, but it's 3 really fucking good hours. So how do you put a dollar figure on that?
Exactly. Yeah. I
So,
wouldn't
like,
want to.
Fans have gone home. Should play this game. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Scratches a similar itch.
Yeah.
Cool.
So other than that, Pyre. Have you guys talked about that at all?
Yeah, I was definitely going to talk
last
about
week.
it. I've been making my way through it, not nearly as fast, or haven't put nearly as much time into it as I would like.
I really want to.
You destroyed that
I
game, right?
devoured it, man.
Jeff mentioned that because we got review codes like a few days before it came out, and I think like a day and a half after we had gotten the codes, he wandered over and said like, Peter finished Pyre.
I played
was like, holy shit.
I played 13 hours the first day I got it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I finished it the next morning after a couple more.
Okay.
Um,
It seems like well, I mean, you kind of just put an hour figure on it. It seems like a long game based on that book, like the book you're kind of translating as you go.
Yeah, I actually didn't pay too much attention to that. I
Really?
found it so dense. I was just like,
I mean, it is pretty
ugh.
dense, but I mean, just because you see kind of like how many chapters there are at the
Yeah.
beginning based on those little tabs, and I'm only on
Yeah.
still the second one or the first proper chapter after the introduction.
So it's not actually like a linear. You're not unlocking those chapters one by one. Like it'll
okay.
sort of hop around a little bit.
I see.
Yeah, about 15 hours.
Okay.
It's got a fixed number of competitions, these rights,
Mm-hmm.
where you sort of play a hybrid of football and basketball.
I've seen some people referring to it as like a visual novel and you play NBA Jam every once in a while.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty close.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people making comparisons to dodgeball.
Magical
It's
NBA
not
Jam.
dodgeball
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
I've heard
no.
Blitzball too. I mean, I saw the launch trailer for that, and I had no idea what that game was about.
Nor did I. Like, I didn't actually come to it. I didn't even want to review it. Somebody else was going to do it, and I had to take it. So yeah, I was totally confused, like leading up to it. And that's kind of why I didn't care. But once you start playing, like the sport that they've invented works really well.
Yeah.
To the point that I wish I could keep playing it. And there is a versus mode where you can play with a friend, but only locally. And that's kind of disappointing because you get access to every character in the game, not just the ones that you have.
You
on
get
your
to
team.
play all those opponents from the
Yeah.
story. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like I said this last week, but like a lot of the Supergiant people came from like EALA. They worked on a bunch of RTSs and stuff, and
Command
like
and
it's
Conquer and
so
stuff, yeah.
evident in like how like intensely designed all the combat stuff is in their games. Like every single one of those, even like unnamed enemy characters, has like stats and abilities and like stuff equipped on them.
Yeah.
Like if you click on them before a
Right.
match, like it's crazy
That's pretty rad.
how much like mechanical detail there is in that game.
Yeah, and all those talismans, the things you're talking about being equipped to people, those are also all unlocked in the versus mode.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
and,
that's like an insane amount of depth. I
and
mean,
you
like
can tinker with all the masteries and abilities as well.
Like
So you
this-
can really just create a custom team and go at it. So
the-
it sucks that there's no online.
yeah, the skill system in Transistor was the same way. If you remember, like just how ridiculously open ended and like extensible it was. You remember how that worked? Like because you
I
had like a
didn't
ton of
finish
skills.
Transistor.
You had like a ton of skills in that game, and you could equip any of them as primary skills, but you could also equip other skills onto the skills as secondary skills.
Oh, right.
So every skill had a primary and a secondary function, and they all modified each other in
Yeah.
like really consistent ways. Like it was like incredibly intricate.
Yeah.
Just the amount of design work that goes into those games.
Yeah, and the intricacy I think also translates to the characters and their personalities and the way they're written. Greg Kasabin was the designer and the writer on this game, and I don't know him very well personally. I consider him a nice guy that I talk to once in a while. So
Sure.
I'm not here to pump up a friend, but he did a really good job writing all these characters. Like they all feel very distinct, and they all one of the things is that you end up having to sacrifice these characters to send them away from this purgatory they're stuck in back to the real world.
I mean, that's the goal. Like
That is the
that's,
goal.
Like they want out.
You're trying to form.
Yeah.
Well, some people want out for personal selfish reasons. Other people want out to form a revolution and take down the system that led to people being banished to purgatory for having the gall to learn how to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these characters, you have to decide. Okay, well, I have to sacrifice them for the greater good and maybe for their own personal desires. But you can only sacrifice your strongest members. So you eventually have to play with all of them.
They kind of like level out basically.
Essentially, yes. Yeah, you get to the point where you only have so many high-level characters that you can sacrifice. So you have to choose, and then you get stuck with characters you didn't play as before, and you may have thought they weren't interesting, but then you get to play with them and you get to see with them, what they want to do between scenes, and you're like, oh shit, they are kind of interesting, and they come with their own mechanical advantages as well.
Wait, do you have like more or less like total freedom to decide who to dismiss?
Yeah.
So, geez, like how many permutations of the story could there be?
That's a question for a math major.
Like that's well, I mean, not like don't put a number on it, but it seems like that would be really hard to write around.
Yeah.
If you don't know, like I don't know how many characters you end up with, but if you don't know who in your party is still going to be there at like hour 8 and hour 10 and whatever, like that.
Yeah.
It's the old, Fire Emblem kind of stuff where
yeah, I guess so.
People you can. I'm sure spreadsheets were involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just play it the once and finish it?
I started playing a second time on PlayStation 4 because I played on PC primarily. Yeah. And on that point, mouse and keyboard controls are so unintuitive.
Really?
Play this with a controller.
For the sports stuff?
Yeah, play this with a controller if at all possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you making like different choices? Like I'm kind of wondering if there's like reason to go back and play it multiple times because you even pick just like moment to moment, like, okay, which route do you want to take through here? Because different things might happen depending on where you go and stuff like that.
I mean, I think playing through it again is just sort of re-experiencing like the sort of magic of the game. Like it's beautiful. It sounds incredible. Like the score is, you talk about diversity of characters, like the diversity of the soundtrack is super impressive. Like from metal to like Zydeco to like all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, just like this goes into like our best style award every year.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have a better name for it than that.
Sure.
It's just like kind of like most swagger. Like the game has just got like a pizzazz to it, just the way that everything animates, as you transition like into your wagon and you open that book and like there's just like so much flourish on all the animations, the way that
and they all look great and they all work the way you'd expect them to, or they're surprising in ways you didn't see coming. And I really don't like to talk about polish too much when it comes to games because what does that even mean? But like there are like no rough edges to Pyre.
Yeah, well there's an attention to detail in the way everything moves and sounds and looks and all that. Like the fit and finish is just like
it is a looker.
Yeah.
What is it called? Pyre?
So essentially,
because that's what they could trademark, which is I think the decision behind every video game.
Like Tacoma didn't even give a shit. But Pyre is the one that they could actually.
Like where did Anthem come from? Like what the fuck does a video game title mean at this point?
So basically, during the sports, both teams have a Pyre behind them, and you are trying to slowly douse the Pyre.
It's basically the basket.
Yeah,
cool. That's what you're trying to throw the mystical basketball into.
A good challenge.
It is a very good challenge because
difficulty settings.
I thought that it was easy right up until the last fight that I just did, and I almost lost it. And I was like, "Oh wait, maybe this game isn't so easy."
It's a little bit easy up until the middle, and you can even like stand still and watch the AI just like not do what it's supposed to do for a point in time. There are difficulty settings; you can ramp it up. Later in the game, though, the AI gets smarter, but you can also impose debuffs on yourself or buffs on your enemies to get more experience. So you can actually tailor the difficulty and earn better rewards for it as well.
Kind of like Halo Skulls.
I don't know. I don't play too much Halo. No.
You shoot stuff in that game.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the sport, so you mentioned throwing it in. Throwing it in is one option. And characters are better or worse at throwing versus like running, for example. So throwing is advantageous because if you throw the ball in, you get fewer points. It's based on how far away you throw it. But the character that scored is not sacrificed for the next round of play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you run the ball in, which maybe a quicker character can do, they'll be out until the next team scores. So you put yourself at a disadvantage doing it that way, or you score fewer points and save that character. So there's a lot of depth to explore there, and
it can get away from you too because it's a 3-on-3 game. Like I've definitely run into situations where all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I only have one character on the field now, and they have 3. Like this is not good.
And opponents will cheat. Yeah. They will banish characters from your team like out of the blue. They will like double their score because you're trying to like whittle away a score. So they'll get close to 0 and they'll be like, you know what, fuck you, and they'll just like double it.
That sounds frustrating.
Super enjoyable. No, because the sport is fun.
Yeah. I really, once I get through that game, I want to like make people here sit down and we should just like
play.
I want to dissect that.
Yeah, we should play a bunch of verses and see how that goes because that thing is kind of crazy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Maybe on a UBF.
Yes. You been playing anything else besides the elephant in the room? Physically in the room, on the table.
Apart from this, I replayed Super Metroid recently.
Oh yeah,
that was fun. I've got like my FrameMeister all hooked up. You guys have used it. I'm sure Giant Bomb people are aware of it by now. But I hadn't actually played a game like through all the way, so I was like, Super Metroid, I'm doing it. Did it for my buddy's podcast, and I love that game.
How long's it been?
One of the best
since you played it.
Completely,
start to finish. Yeah,
start to finish, probably a decade.
Wow.
I'll pick it up and dabble for a minute. It always gets to the point where I'm like at Meridia or. Maybe it was Norfair. So there's one point in the game where I always get tripped up and I always just stop playing. This time I actually just remembered like, oh fuck, right. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
the way that game sort of distributes its power-ups and its new environments, it's at such a good pace. Like I don't go a few minutes without getting a new weapon or a new container, and that was really great. And it's just an awesome reminder of like what a weird game that was at the time. Like that title screen has dead, bleeding corpses on it, and this was a Nintendo published game in 1992, I think, 94 maybe. Super eerie. And I continue to love that game.
Yeah, crazy atmosphere.
I've been trying to play Hollow Knight, which gets a lot of comparisons to Super Metroid as a Metroidvania kind of thing. And the mapping system of that game is just baffling to me. Like you can pay for maps, but it bugs
me that you have to like pay
I
for
know,
that stuff.
and it doesn't tell you where you are. You can be off in like a map zone that is not even filled in, so you're off in like blank space on the map.
Right.
And I really think I'd enjoy the game a lot more if it had the Metroid kind of like fill in the map as you go. Because you can buy maps before you go to places and it'll all show up as being like kind of explored or at least outlined and figuring out where you've been and where you haven't been yet. And I don't know if you played it, but it seems it's just kind of, I'm like a couple hours in and I enjoy the gameplay a lot.
I just see that there's just a few things, niggling things that are just like really preventing me from fully enjoying it.
And it's one of those things, just like Path of Exile, where you hear so much amazing word of mouth from the people who love that game. Hollow Knight has had some
really like Hollow Knight.
People have had some of the.
Speaking of games, people just email in randomly about saying, "Hey, you should play this."
Hollow Knight. I've been trying my best, but like that mapping thing early on is just really kind of a killer of enjoyment.
Even Super Metroid kind of dropped the ball a little bit because it'll fill in the map sort of as you go, but there are multiple locations and they interconnect at multiple points. You can only look at the map of the one that you're in. So if you know you have to return to this certain point, and there are like 3 ways to go back up there, there's no way for you to investigate which is the one that you really want to take until you go up, and then you're like, oh shit, I need to take the elevator on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where any of those 2D, exploration is such a big part of it, but I do get kind of confused at some point. What was that? Axiom Verge, I got to one point where I just had no idea where to go.
Dude, I burned out on that game very hard.
Yeah, I liked it up to what I played.
Yeah.
I mean, for any game where like one dude does it, it's or one, or I'm sure the composer or something like that. But
for me, it got a little over the top with the glitchy stuff.
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
terms
say.
of like warping you around and making you like kind of glitch out the environment to get through things like that.
Was
this
neat.
stuff was it was neat for sure, but they laid that on a little bit heavily.
I just got to a point where I had no idea where to go.
Yeah,
and I kind of stopped.
What was a successful Super Metroid playthrough for you? Were you trying to like hit 100% of items or anything like that? Or
No,
just get through it.
Wasn't trying to do 100%. I think I did it in just over 7 hours.
Okay,
if I remember correctly, which is a little bit long.
Yeah.
But again, I always get stuck at this one point.
Yeah.
So I do that and I run around the map a few times until I finally recall.
All right, here's a segue. I've been downloading a bunch of SPC and VGM files and listening to them in Fubar 2000 lately because that's fun.
Yes.
Which has led me to a newfound appreciation for the synth chip and the Genesis.
Yes, the Yamaha something or other. I can't remember
Genesis
exactly what it is.
Music is just fucking like hard hitting and rude and crunchy and dirty and awesome.
But there comes a point when it can be too crunchy and dirty.
Yeah, I suppose so. But you wouldn't know it playing the, what is it called?
The Sega Genesis Flashback.
Which, for people watching the video, you've got one right here.
Yes. Here. This is it.
It's just like, I guess, whatever. This was happening pre-NES Classic, but post-NES Classic, it's like everybody is rushing to make tiny, retro, kitschy emulation consoles.
Can I find this at my local Walgreens or CVS or Target or?
I'm sure you can eventually.
Yeah. So this thing's not out yet.
That's weird.
It's not out yet. I had disassembled that, so that's.
You took it apart. You took it apart.
So I'm assuming Sega officially licensed all this stuff to them.
Yes,
can't really
I
get
would hope so.
away with this.
At Games has been making Genesis consoles for I think about a decade now or close to it.
Wait, what do you mean, like real Genesis consoles?
Well, so ones that'll have pack-in games, ones that'll play carts, but licensed Genesis consoles.
So this thing has a cart slot
Yeah.
on it. This will play carts?
Sure.
Have you tried that?
I have.
You must have tried that. You have Genesis carts.
I tried it.
What? This is just a weird collection of games to put on the cover. Like Mortal Kombat and Phantasy Star 4 are like thrown out here on the side. And there's Sonic, obviously.
Okay, sure. Those all make sense.
Phantasy Star 3, 2,
Yeah,
Golden Axe, Sonic 2,
Yes.
Shining Force,
I'm not-
Shinobi 3.
Is that Collins?
I guess these are all good, but
That's
it's
Collins.
weird that the design of this cover
I don't know.
is
Not,
It's also got Columns 3. Don't
I like
worry.
how it says HD on it too. Like,
Oh,
it
that's
doesn't
what
have an
you love?
HDMI slot.
Don't worry, Matt.
I think it always did. It always
Plug into TV.
Okay. That's probably how you would use that thing.
Idiots.
Uh,
So we're just to talk about the box before we get to the nitty gritty. This is one of the most misleading packages I have ever seen in my time covering hardware, anything.
Can you not plug it into the TV?
So, okay, if you were just to look at this, you would assume, okay, this is a Sega Genesis. I'm expecting Sega Genesis games, and it says 85 games. I can expect 85 Sega Genesis games.
One would hope.
That is not the truth.
Yeah.
There are 45 Genesis games on here. There are 28 shovelware bullshit awful games.
Like non-Sega games?
Yeah. Let me read the titles.
Yeah, I remember when this got announced not that long ago, like sometime in the last month. We read off a bunch of those games, and yeah, like a bunch of them were just like, what, this is what?
Yeah, some were like Master System games, I think.
Well, that's the thing.
Well,
like,
okay, so that's the different
another
thing.
thing.
there are some Master System games, but some of them are just like from
Some-
out of nowhere.
Some Master System and some Game Gear games. So the shitty
Wait, Game Gear too?
Yeah, and the pixels aren't the proper dimension. They're like rectangular
Oh,
pixels.
right.
So
Yeah.
it looks ugly as shit. God. The crap that they've put on here is so fucking bad. And it's published by Tectoy, which is this Brazilian company that's worked with Sega forever. And they have put out some good hardware in Brazil, but they've also just created a bunch of shit, or they've hired teams to create shitty games to conflate their things that have built-in, collections of games, right? These things are so like there's this game called Spider on there. That's a very innocuous name. It's not it's not the worst. I mean, there's been a Spider the video game, like whatever. There's a cake and there's a wall, and there are spiders crawling down the wall, and you have to move a cursor and press a button on them. If you miss one, the spiders eat cake, game over.
That sounds great.
That sounds exhilarating.
There's one that is, I think, it's called like Fish Tank Observatory. I think you just watch fish swim around a tank.
That I could maybe get into. That sounds
That's
all right.
ahead of its time, man.
There's one called like Yawning Pterodactyl or something like that.
Oh,
Mr.
wow.
Balls.
Did they? So this company.
That's my name.
This company produced all these games themselves, or
At Games did not produce them. I believe Tectoy was the publisher
yeah,
for all of them. I didn't play all of them, so I don't know for certain, but their logo popped up on all the ones I played.
Love how the batteries are not included.
The batteries are not included, and you need a fucking screwdriver to get into the controller to put them in. And I got an email from the company saying, "Oh, you need a screwdriver due to safety regulations." What the fuck? Like,
so like every other battery operated product on the market is violating safety regulations.
yeah,
then.
good for At Games for sticking to their guns. And I hate to just like be a real negative asshole about this thing, but fuck this.
Well,
like,
how much is this thing?
$80.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
way.
The packaging is so misleading. It's
like-
so misleading. And then
I
there's
can't
more.
get over
I
the
got
thing that says HD.
Yeah.
It says a 720p output.
Right.
That's like saying the original Doom is HD because it plays on my monitor that's really big. That's so weird.
I'll give them credit for at least doing wireless controllers.
Yes,
which
but
Nintendo did not.
But let's talk about this controller. So yes, you need AAA batteries, which is stupid, and you need a screwdriver to get in it, which is dumb. But all of that aside, the biggest problem with these controllers is every individual button has to be pressed twice before it'll function.
What? I'm sorry?
Every time you turn it on.
Oh.
What?
I'm sorry?
That's right. So it's not like I hit A twice and then all the buttons work.
Right.
For every button
That
I
means-
have to use.
That
So,
makes the A button work.
so I turn it on and I go like this. It is so, and so the company has and the Genesis games they're dropping frames left and right.
So that was I was waiting for that because
Yeah.
Jeff borrowed that thing from you briefly and hooked it up and we messed with it and like,
yeah.
dude, it does not run Genesis games properly.
No, it does not
at all.
It drops games left and right and frames left and right.
And like the music sounds super jacked up. Like
I
only saw him play Sonic 1, but it did not sound like Sonic 1.
So the thing with the Genesis you have to understand is the original Model 1 that has the high definition graphics thing up here. There's two different Model 1s. One has that,
Wait, really?
one does not. Yeah.
Huh.
So after that model, Sega actually changed the sound hardware inside. So even Sega's own Genesis systems, especially the Model 2 and Model 3, will sound far different from the original Model 1. So
They're
it's
trying to reduce cost, or what were they doing?
it's a good question. I would have to assume it was cost related. So Genesis games can sound different to different people. That said, like this didn't sound awful to me. People have dumped on At Games Genesis audio stuff before, but it doesn't sound quite right. Like I would go to YouTube and play some of my other Genesis games. When I owned one in parallel. This is sort of very high pitched and tinny.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sharp. It's almost a little bit painful to listen to certain sound effects.
Does that apply to cartridge games too that you've put in? Have you tried?
Yes.
Like if you stuck a Sonic cart in
it's
that
not the
thing-
ROMs, it's the emulation. So
right,
yeah,
so
no matter
it would run
no
the
matter
cart-
what you do,
It
yeah.
would run the cart just as badly as it runs the okay.
Yeah, and things are very strange with the cart as well. So and this is something that people jumped on me because they don't understand how this thing works. one of the complaints in my review is that you can only put in games when the system is off. Now, if this was just a traditional console, yes, duh, that makes sense.
Sure.
But this has an operating system, and like the Retron 5, it'll dump a cart to RAM. So it's got a software layer to account for that. You shouldn't have to turn it on and off, and that becomes a problem when you have a cart that's dirty and you put it in and it can't dump it properly. You can't just take it out, reseat it, and let it do the dump process again, even though that should be technically possible. So you turn it off, you turn it back on. It reads a game successfully. The thing with Genesis carts is they will sometimes contain multiple versions of a game ROM on it to account for different regions or whatever.
Weird, yeah.
So when it dumps one game, in the cartridge game screen, it'll show like anywhere from like 2 to 10, like I saw like 8 copies of the same game pop up.
Off one cart.
Right, and it's like, I guess I'll pick this one. And I haven't like found any like weird versions, having picked around, but it's like there's some weird oversight going on here. And that also extends to how you navigate the UI. So it has a menu on the left with categories, and on the right is the array of games. You navigate the array of games on the right using the D-pad, but you can only navigate the categories using the B and C buttons.
Okay.
So you scroll through a menu using B and C when you've got a perfectly functional D-pad right here. So that's just, it's so unintuitive, right? And like the first games you see on the list are the shitty pack-in games. It's all these little things that add up, yeah. And then, so last night I decided I want to know what the hell this thing is made of. And so I opened it up.
Oh, wow. Hey.
And
didn't screw it back together.
Is that a Raspberry Pi? What is that?
No, but
so,
that's a tiny little main board.
So the first thing I noticed on the board is that it has a USB port. And I thought,
oh, sure.
Oh, sure.
You got it.
So I said, okay, it's got a USB port. So I plugged it into my computer, and it pulls it up as essentially a ADB device, which is Android. And I was able to eventually read the NAND flash ROM and see what is stored on here. It is an Android-based system. I couldn't actually see anything except for cache files, so this game will allow you to rewind a few seconds while you're playing a game, or it'll do save states, if I remember correctly. And so that I could see that stuff, but I couldn't see like the emulators it was using. Like most of the files that were already written on there were hidden, but I could see the folders, and it's definitely Android. The device that it pulled up in my driver property screen was for a Rockchip 3036, I believe. There is no Rockchip 3036 on this system. And the processor that I believe is in charge of everything is this thing called the Monkey King 3.6, a chip I could find no information about. So I'm pretty sure they're spoofing a legit chip to run this thing. I can't say that for certain. That's not me whatever. I'm not making that claim, but the device that pulled up on my computer is not present on this board as far as I can tell.
Why are there slots for the controllers?
You can use original controllers.
Oh, okay. Wow. Right. That's, of course, everybody would. Why wouldn't you? Because everybody has this thing around.
Right.
I do.
But then, so I'm plugging in the USB port, and then I notice with the lid flip down, I get up and I'm like, oh, wait, the light is on. So wait, what happens if I plug this into my TV through the USB port on the circuit board and not use the power brick that they sent? Well, lo and behold, it works over USB.
Still works.
So therefore, this company cares so little about putting out the best product they can that the convenient USB power has been effectively nulled.
That's so weird.
Due to their manufacturing or their lack of vision or whatever.
Yeah.
Gross.
Will the controllers run if you have it USB powered?
Yeah.
Do you think? So you could actually just take this little chip out and maybe unhook this and then throw it into your TV just permanently?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Sweet.
I don't see why not. You could.
This is the kind of thing that
I don't know why you would.
gets built into like hotel TVs to let people play N64 then. So
Sure.
$80, man.
$80. And I hate to be like so down about something when I don't like it, but the fact that this thing is being packaged the way it is, it's not being upfront with what is actually inside of it. And they've cut so many corners on so many levels that it's kind of insulting because they're doing this in the wake of the NES Classic.
That's what it really is. Like, there's just something opportunistic about this because like there's like a heightened sort of public demand for stuff like this, and people are going to see this and they're like, yeah, I like the Genesis almost as much as the Super NES. Maybe I'll buy that thing because here it is.
So they cobbled together, their knowledge from the past, their crappy software that they've had forever. The sort of, I don't know if they've been doing Android-based stuff for a while, but that seems to be what they've gone with here now. And they didn't really take it full circle. And they've said, okay, well, we're going to fix this before launch. We are aware of the bad frame rates. We're aware of the controller issue. All these things you're saying are wrong with it. Yes, you're right.
Okay, so this thing is how far off from release?
I think it comes out September.
Okay.
Now, because it's Android-based, that means there's software that can be rewritten on here. I don't know if they've started manufacturing or not. If they can put this out and the emulation works the way it should, this device is somewhat attractive, but it's still very problematic for the way that it's packaged and the way that it is sort of not a fully realized product in that it's leaving opportunities on the cutting room floor.
Well, I
such
mean,
as
like
the USB power.
the controller is not good.
Right.
And there's a lot of OS issues. Like it sounds like
With
a lot to fix in a month.
With the USB hookup, though, there's at least a chance that somebody might be able to completely rewrite this thing to make it actually be
absolutely
way better.
Absolutely. But at that point, you're spending $80 to do something that you could do
Yeah.
with a Raspberry
Yeah.
Pi for far cheaper.
Yeah, totally.
And even the NES Classic can be hacked to run other systems now as well. It's not even just NES. So, I mean, I don't know if you have one of those. Obviously, they're hard to get.
Yeah.
So this thing is kind of upsetting, and there's this weird, not to name names or anything, there are people on YouTube who are giving this very positive reviews, and it's very confusing. And so there's a lot of people defending this and getting angry at people like myself for saying this thing is garbage because this
other guy,
they want to
tell
believe.
the truth.
They want to believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope for the people that want this that it comes out in a better state that it's in. Just know that you're not getting 85 Genesis games because the company is lying to your face. That's my biggest
super
takeaway.
crappy.
I'll hold off my Saturn emulator in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the day that Jeff grabbed that thing and messed with it, I just watched him and said, "Oh, that thing sucks."
Yeah.
Okay, but then I saw your write up on GameSpot and it had a brutal headline, and I was like, we should probably get him in here and perform a public service and talk about that thing.
Nice.
Yeah. If you try to play Super Street Fighter 2, that's not going to work, buddy. Can't do that either.
Wait, the cart?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't.
I think that game has bank switching going on with its memory to account for more space on the cart, and so that doesn't actually function properly here. Likewise, flash carts won't work because it dumps the game to RAM, so you can't use like your EverDrive or anything like that.
Man, just long list of issues with this thing.
Yeah,
Do not buy. Which
That's
I think is what your headline said.
and until anything is fixed and the price goes down, do not buy.
Oh, all right, good to know.
Yeah,
Man, that sucks. The Genesis deserves better.
it really does.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful system.
Yeah,
It can be. It can be.
yeah. Jason, I see a hand motion down there.
Yeah, the hand motion was for a break.
Oh, you want me to break it?
Break something. Oh, we can break that, or we could take a break.
Oh, you want to take a? All right, so we're gonna take a break here and break this crappy fake Genesis, and then feel better about ourselves. We'll be right back.
It's time. Website time. Specifically, building a website time. So why not check out Squarespace, which will help you create an eye-catching online platform. That's right, you can bring your ideas to life, whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas. Squarespace gives you everything you need to look like an expert right from the start. You can even get a unique domain, strengthening your brand and making it easier for visitors to find you. They've got award-winning templates. You can just use your mouse and click it to make a website. You don't install anything, patch anything, upgrade, whatever. If you got a question, Squarespace is there. They've got 24/7 customer support that can help you with any problem, no matter how technical or trivial seeming. So make your next move your best move and start your free trial at squarespace.com today. Enter the offer code BOMBCAST to get 10% off your first purchase. Again, that's BOMBCAST at squarespace.com.
Jason, I understand you have been known to play a game or two.
Yeah,
now and
yeah.
again.
In my spare time and
Well,
in my working time,
You like to game?
Yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm a radical gamer. Hardcore
Oh.
is what they call me.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What have you been hardcore gaming?
No, I haven't been playing much.
Nothing?
Nothing hardcore,
Yeah.
man. Because I don't have time, man. I got a kid. And
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
but
fair. Just make him watch.
that kid sleeps sometimes, so I'm able to boot up the game.
Yeah.
Now and again.
Now and again?
Yeah,
What
now
you
and
got?
again.
What you got?
Immortal Planet
Yeah.
came out of nowhere, as far as I was concerned, because I didn't hear about it.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't
all of a
know.
sudden
I don't
it's
know.
like out.
I've never.
Does
heard of
anybody here know what that is?
Mortal Planet was, I think, done by the same guy that did Ronin, which I was a big fan of. Is that like weird turn-based stealth game,
Okay.
but like action-oriented as well. Like you would pause when you were like you'd jump in the air, and you'd pause, and then pick a direction to go and kill people. It made it on my top 10 a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just because of that gameplay mechanic hooked me so much.
Well, what is this?
This is this guy's love letter to Dark Souls, essentially. So it is a 2D Dark Souls.
Is it like kind of overhead or sort of isometric?
It is, yeah. It's isometric,
Okay.
and it's still got that art style, very flat and angular, and it lends itself really well, I think, to the aesthetic. Looks great, feels great, but it is
play like a Dark Souls.
Yeah, but it is kind of one note in that sense, in that
Yeah.
it very much mimics, the Dark Souls experience. And like I said, it's a love letter. He's just trying to recreate it in his vision or whatever. Not too much else going on besides the Dark Souls 2D experience, I guess. They give you a few different weapons to start off, that have different types of attacks, and it's very basic, but it feels good. And thankfully it's kind of short, and
So
yeah,
not
it's kind of
big,
cheap.
giant.
I want to say $15-20 or something like that, but yeah,
more-
it was a good Dark Souls-esque experience. I think.
Sounds like more Dark Souls combat than like Dark Souls giant world to explore.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's all like in a subterranean kind of cyberpunky. Yeah, it's got a good look to it. I
Do you have
like
any?
it.
Do you have any OCD?
What's that?
Do you have any OCD?
Here and there.
So there's one thing I know. I know. Weird question. I was watching the trailer for that game, and I noticed that when the character turns, the weapon that he's holding will switch hands.
Yep.
For no reason.
Like
Yeah, that's
intentionally,
like
or is it not?
Like it kind of mirrors, like it kind of.
Huh.
Flips.
It
it's
looks
just
like an
you mean
oversight.
just like they mirrored the sprite in a weird way? or
Yeah,
something?
I get
see.
that actually. Yeah, when you're walking, sometimes you say you're walking right, down right, and then you hit up. Like you'll start moving, but your character model won't switch yet, and it will like kind of mid.
Sure.
It's
I don't know. I mean, 20 years ago, that was every game, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows what From Software is doing now, right? Like Dark Souls.
Right. Well,
I
mean,
they don't have anything announced, do
they
they?
hinted like sci-fi. I think
Did
like
they?
a couple years ago, Miyazaki said that that's a thing that's maybe happening.
I
but
feel like didn't he say something about wanting to bring Armored Core back?
That was like-
or
that'd be
Chrome
cool.
Hounds
that
or
was
something.
frequently asked, and I think
Okay.
he said, "I would love to like at some point. I would like to do that." I
Yeah.
don't know if that's what we can look forward to right
Heard a
now.
lot of Bloodborne 2 rumors flying around before E3, but that
yeah,
obviously
that was
didn't-
all
Yeah.
nonsense.
Did you guys ever get into that Armored Core?
No.
No, damn.
No,
I tried
I played
many times.
I did weirdly enjoy Chrome Hounds for a while, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat.
I don't know why quite.
I heard the online was pretty good for that. right?
Yeah, I think so. I really have no recollection of why it was good or if it was good, but
I played a lot of the PS2 games, and then like on PS3 they started changing the formula a little bit, and
And there's a
it
lot of
lost
Armored
me.
Core games too, though.
Yeah.
Like looking back, I actually wanted to give them a try because I always sort of pass them by, and it's
Mhm.
I don't know where to start.
Is
not,
that
not with the first one, obviously. Cause
Yeah,
it's
I mean
old,
it's
but-
in its time. That was the kind of slow, deliberate kind of
Yeah.
combat. It was not arcadey in any sense, and there was a lot of shit to manage. And yeah, it was super intriguing. I love all the
Somebody-
customization and stuff.
pointed out to me that there was a Kingsfield game for the PS2, which I had never heard
Was
of.
there?
Because we talked about it on UPF
did
a
not
lot.
know
There's
that.
Kingsfield 1 and 2
Yeah.
for sure, and then apparently some like the Ancient's Way or something
Huh.
on PS2,
Huh.
which I had never played, and I'm actually kind of curious to go back and maybe try it out. But then I haven't even played Dark Souls 2 or 3.
the
So.
thing I always hear about the Kingsfield games is like, you could see how they're getting from there
Yeah.
to Dark Souls
Yeah.
in those things, but they're not necessarily like
huge gap.
amazing
they're,
games.
They're tough to play. It's a very
Yeah.
small FOV. You turn very slowly. They're not easy to pop into.
No,
But I do have I have a kind of fascination with them. 'Cause,
What would you want from software to do next?
Bloodborne 2
That's
would be fine with me.
Okay, all right.
I don't know, man.
I don't know if I don't know.
remember
I,
I need
I
Bloodborne?
don't think I need another Bloodborne. Yeah, dude. Wow, that was actually
I joke around about that.
that was. I would say that is a great moment in the annals of Giant Bomb history.
I just
I
need
mean-
another cookies and cream, man.
Okay, all right.
You guys-
That's a good out of
You
left
guys
field
don't know
answer.
cookies and cream? Classic multiplayer co-op game from software. Oh man, okay, cookies and cream.
But
The
like,
Adventures of-
the dark gritty reboot of Cookies and Cream.
yes,
right?
yeah, totally. You could see the similarities between that and Dark Souls immediately.
Yeah, I don't think I need another Bloodborne.
I'm just curious what
I
they're
think
going to do.
I think I would be fine if they'd never made it. Like that was a good one-off.
I would want Bloodborne on PC, and I know the Sony thing is make that impossible. But
Yeah, that's- yeah.
I
That'll
I
never
need
happen.
to start in on Dark Souls 3. I don't know what the state of that game is on PC. All the DLC's out, right? There's no more-
yeah. DLC's done. That game is
People
it's
still
a
playing
really,
it?
it's a really good PC
There
version.
are no crappy hackers are going to take all my stuff away.
That I can't say.
Just yank that cord, man. Play it
and
offline.
maybe I will.
Dark Souls 3
I
is
still
quite
cannot
good.
play Dark Souls 3 online. Like whenever I load into the game, it connects to the server and then immediately disconnects.
Get
And I
that strict
tried.
strict nat, dude.
I don't know. No, I
It's
should
infecting
be.
all of our
Strict
computers.
nat, dude.
No, it's not here. It's like it's at it's at home. I don't get it.
Well,
And I've reinstalled that thing and
We all live under the tyranny of an oppressive gnat here.
something.
Is that locked to 60 on PC?
I don't know.
I think I started it a while ago, and it didn't. Something about it just seemed off compared to every other
Play
PC.
it on that new monitor.
I did. That's what I was trying to do. I think it might be some weird. I don't know. I'll look up DS3 fix or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of.
But those games are always tied to
Excellent
their frame
mods.
rate, right? A lot of the
There was-
that was true of 1 for sure. I don't know
Yeah.
about 3 because 1, if you use DS Fix, it's got all those weird issues at 60 FPS, like
couldn't
the
jump.
the jump distances and like the ladder climbing is affected. Like
Right.
stuff gets real
Oh,
weird.
wow.
Yeah, like the movement is based on the frame rate. So
Sure.
there's a toggle you can hit, like you can change it back to 30 by hitting a
Yeah,
key and
I
then
had to do that.
make a jump and then go back to 60.
It's a jump to where that big bird.
Yeah,
thing
there's
is.
that
Like,
one
I-
jump in particular.
I streamed some of that, and it took me like maybe 20 minutes to make that jump.
Once in
and
a while, if you like slide down a ladder at 60 FPS, you'll just fall through the world at the bottom. Like it's weird.
It's always
So
fun.
it's a weird thing. But are you a big Dark Souls guy?
I appreciate it from the sidelines.
Okay.
I suck
So no
at those games. I'm
no-
so bad.
no real opinion on the direction of From Software.
Well, I will say the thing that's most intriguing to me is like the lore that they instill in their
Mhm.
games.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if there was, dare I say it, something more accessible
Yeah.
for someone like me, where I could actually like get into their storytelling a bit more, I would
Dude.
I would like that.
To whenever
you should
start,
try Destiny because all you have to do is download an app, and it's everything
get
that you ever
get
needed
the Dark
to
Souls
know.
experience on the go, just
Yeah.
reading a bunch of item descriptions
that's the
for
problem.
hours on end.
Everything about Dark Souls, whenever I say Bloodborne, it kind of baffled me in a good way. I was very curious about it all. I wrote this long thing that I don't think I ever published, but it's totally baffling. It doesn't make any sense at all unless you are really reading between the lines. And
Yeah.
every time you,
And or watching like YouTube.
if you dare to
explainers.
say that this could be a little less obscure, just every fucking Twitter thing you go back, read the item descriptions.
I mean, I
you get it
kind
all."
of like it that way. I, mean,
I don't mind it. It's really fun to have
it's-
something that's not like
It's crazy
blatant.
that like crucial world building details could be in the description for a key. You know, like
but I don't want to watch a 2-hour
That's kinda neat.
YouTube video.
I think it's cool and different
Yeah.
and something that nobody else does. So
But the
like,
preciousness of the people who really get like
Sure.
I guess
defensive
so.
about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
That's
I
video
know-
games.
I do appreciate. Bloodborne especially. I appreciate a lot for being something you can kind of interpret your own way.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. I don't have the time to watch a 2-hour YouTube video to explicate everything.
Bloodborne, I can't speak for Souls so much, but Bloodborne ended up getting distilled down really nicely, really
Yeah.
succinctly. Like there are some very good short, concise videos out there about like, here's what I think Bloodborne means, and they're like, really, really well put together.
It's a fast. It's one of the games that I've thought more about this generation of the PS4 generation than anything else. Like I said, I wrote like 5,000 words, and I never bothered to clean up and put together.
Wait,
on it.
is that just sitting on your desktop
Oh,
somewhere?
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just was baffled by the entire
Just
thing.
paste that into a blog and post it.
Maybe I will.
I would
Maybe
read
did.
that.
I don't know if I did put it up, but I
Just
don't think I did.
your crazy ongoing stream of consciousness about Bloodborne.
Super weird.
Constant updates.
Yeah. Jason, did you play? You played some Sundered.
We
couldn't-
Yeah,
we couldn't.
I did. Yeah, we could
that
talk about
doesn't
it.
sound good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we were.
sorry.
I guess the embargo wasn't up last week.
Yeah, and
on
I
the
played
podcast.
a few hours, I think, by that point.
I've played
And
some of it too.
I've come back to it since,
Yeah.
and I'm still kind of coming away with the same feeling, which unfortunately is not good.
Yeah,
The first thing to say about that game is aesthetically, it's a masterpiece, like in animation.
Yeah,
It
speaking
looks
of
beautiful.
Speaking of sprites, that game's got sprites.
There-
Is that
yeah.
is that a Metroidvania?
It is a Metroidvania.
It is.
It's from I forget the name of the developer, but they made
Jotun.
Jotun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jotun. I kind of had the similar feeling from that. Like, aesthetically, animation wise, great.
Yeah, I never played that
was
game,
not
but
there
I saw-
for me. That was more like a Zelda-ish, like top-down
It's like
kind
Vikings,
of
right?
adventure game. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
There's a little bit of that lore.
hand drawn and animated. Like a video I've seen of that looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really really nice. art.
So yeah, this is their attempt at like a Metroidvania. There's some roguelike elements as well, unlocking, squares on a map and shit like that. The combat though, I'm really taking issue with for whatever reason.
Yeah,
Is it not because enemies come from all directions at
That
all
is- that
time
is
with
exactly-
absolutely
is-
no reason
Yeah.
whatsoever?
Have you played some of it too?
Yes.
my
Yeah,
biggest-
I hated it.
It's a bummer, yeah, because like the individual combat is fine, like the feel of the weapon, the way the combos work.
Right.
You don't even
I don't
like
think
that.
so. I don't even
I didn't
that.
I didn't have a problem with that, but yeah, like the enemy spawns are not they don't seem to be hand placed around the map.
They're
just,
illogical.
right.
They don't make any sense.
Well, they seem to be
every like
randomized.
30 to
Yeah.
40 seconds or something like that, you get it all of a sudden.
That's
Or
the thing.
if you're on PS4, like the screen will freeze or something like that.
I
But
don't-
you
I
get
don't-
like a huge wave of enemies.
Yeah.
And
I don't know for a fact that they're randomized, but they feel like
Right.
it. They
Well,
feel like they just happen out of nowhere, and then they'll just like dump 30 enemies on you out of the blue, and then you
Yeah.
have to just sit there and kill
which
them
is
all.
super frustrating, because
Yeah.
it's a roguelike. You die. You carry some stuff over and
Yeah,
shit.
there's a huge skill tree, and like killing enemies gets you XP that you cash in on the skill tree, so you kind of want to be killing enemies.
Another thing that super fucking bugs me is I can't access that skill tree or spend points until I die.
There is a menu option to go back there.
Really?
Yeah, you can pause
You
it.
can
and,
you
like,
can go back to that area.
I haven't tried it, but I think the option is return to sanctuary, so I
Right.
assume that'll warp you back to where the skill
And I'm
tree
pretty
is.
sure
That
that's
is
just
a
like
sanctuary,
a
yeah.
campfire kind of situation where
Yeah.
it just like resets.
Yeah, I think so.
either
Well, it's
way.
constantly spawning enemies in, so it's
Yeah, but so like the world is procedurally generated. Like,
Oh, it is?
Yeah, yeah. So so the big squares.
the big squares are like static.
Those are
but the
static.
interlocking.
Okay, so
But
like
what's in?
the-
But what's inside of those squares? Is
I see.
procedurally
So,
generated.
so
Okay.
the size and arrangement of the rooms is
Yes,
fixed,
but
but what's
the-
in each
the
room
content-
is I see.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I didn't realize that.
Right, and so that's why I think the enemy spawns are the way they are, and why it's just so frustrating. In
Oh,
effect,
that's unfortunate.
you leave a room that's empty, and then you go down into the room below it, and then all of a sudden enemies spawn from the room you just came from
Yeah.
that passageway, and it's like that's fucked. That's not fair. Doesn't make any sense.
Totally. It's funny because so I didn't realize the rooms are all random, and I kept thinking to myself like, I'm not getting the sense of place. Like I'm not learning to navigate this world the way I would
Yeah.
like a Super Metroid or something.
Right.
For a reason I couldn't figure out, I was like, why does none of this ever look familiar to me? Like
Yeah,
why don't I
because
ever?
because the rooms are randomized,
And yeah,
and also the
yeah.
enemy, there's no placement to them.
Yeah.
So it becomes super frustrating if you're trying to get from point A to point B,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you've got this big wave of enemies, and you got to pause and just like take care of these guys, and that's kind of frustrating to me because I don't necessarily like the feel of the
You
combat.
can run past a lot of them.
Sure, but
but-
if you're
but then you're
dealing
not
with
getting
some of those
XP.
robots that will hit you from like fucking 3 screens
Yeah,
away with their
they,
lasers,
Yeah, they
and
very
shit.
quickly introduce enemies.
Like
that can hit you from off
they
screen.
blast through walls and shit.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense. But if I can get nitty gritty about the combat, like, oh, all right. So it feels like I'm playing like a platformer, like an ice level or something like that. I'll frequently, as I'm like doing my combo, which is like a 4-hit thing, with a big like hammer attack at the end of it or something like that. I'll do the first couple hits and I keep sliding, and I
does-
actually end up on the other side of the enemy. So
Combo,
I've got
the
to like turn
combos
around.
do move you forward, and you will get past an enemy that you're trying to hit in some cases.
That
Like,
really
that-
bugs the
you're
shit
right,
out of me.
you're right.
So, like in other games, that have like a roll kind of situation, this one does as well, but it shoots you so far away from the combat that I can't just like use it to get behind enemies. It's like a fixed. There's some real issues. It just
kinda
doesn't feel
tuning.
good to me.
Some gameplay aspects that could have been tuned a little better. Dan really likes it.
Yeah, and that's great. And
So I think he's played more than us, so it makes me wonder.
so
if
it may be that
if
he's
it gets
unlocked
better. Yeah, because that skill tree is gigantic. Like there are what look like a couple hundred nodes
Right.
on the skill tree. So I wonder if you get better stuff.
I hate that it's all like grayed out too. Like you don't know exactly what is further along in that tree.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Also,
so-
like not to I hate to just sit here and rag on this game all
Yeah.
the time, but they commit what feels like a cardinal sin to me for a skill tree, which is that each node has 3 levels to it.
Yeah.
But you can't just cash in 1 level on the node and then go to the
Right.
next node. You have to unlock all 3 levels on a node before you can move on.
Why
which
not just have 3 nodes?
why not?
seems
Yeah.
like defeats the purpose of how that should work. Yeah, I keep meaning to ask Dan if like it just opened up as he got
don't
through it and you get better skills.
Yeah,
or,
I mean, like you
more
get like a
stuff.
projectile attack and
Yeah.
double jumps and stuff, which would help traversal and stuff.
Bless you.
Another thing about the platform is like you don't have a good ledge grab or anything like that, and before you get the double jump, a lot of these platforms are just high enough to where you, instead of jumping up to them, you have to like bounce off a wall and get up to it. It's not intuitive to me, but yeah, nitpicky stuff. I guess.
I
but-
do want to play more of it and see if it.
I tried.
kinda gets
I
more
tried to come
agreeable,
back. Like
as you go, 'cause,
even
like,
if I
it-
had like additional powers and double jump or whatever, I don't think that would fix the fundamental
Yeah.
issues that I have with
It
combat.
does look fantastic though. It's got
Truly.
really good art design.
You still ever go through Dead Cells? You ever beat that or?
I'm still going
working
in
through?
hard on Dead Cells. Yeah, I've been paying attention to the beta branches and stuff, and they just added dailies to that. So I'm super excited. And they changed up the sprites for a lot of enemies, and they're adding new weapons all the time. Man, it's fucking great.
Maybe I'll
That
try
game still feels super good.
Maybe I'll flip over that from Hollow Knight. Like,
Yeah,
same
give
with
it a
like
shot.
minor quibbles with Hollow Knight. Like, there's a bunch of obviously like any Metroidvania, there's a bunch of platforms you can't get to until you have double jump. But
I
also
feel
you
like I'm
can't-
in such control of Dead Cells. Like, it feels like, a good, like Symphony of the Night,
I can't also
response-wise
swing
and-
upwards without going side to side, so it's really tough for me to do that. And then that always makes me wind up falling off platforms.
Oh, really?
Which is frustrating.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's just my controller being weird, but little nibbly things like that
Sure.
can kind of just kill your. There's a million things that I can't play right now, and
Yeah, I get super picky about games like that, like the combat and stuff. If there's something that really doesn't jive with me, I tend to walk away, unfortunately. But Aztez came out, I think this week, came out today or something like that. And speaking of combat, like that's really good combat. That's a very finely tuned, stylish 2D action.
what is
like,
Aztez?
Aztez is stylish 2D action with like a Mad World kind of like visual
Is
appeal.
it black and white?
Yeah, it's got black and white, and then the blood is all red. So yeah, like lots of juggle combos and grabs and just super fluid stuff. All of that feels great, but that is kind of the one note I think of the big high note, and I think they realized that and added like a strategy layer to it. So there's like an overworld, like almost board game thing. So like between rounds, these cities are either being overtaken or calamities are happening, and you've got to manage that on top of going into these cities and just fighting a wave of enemies.
So it's the Dynasty Warriors empires of
kind
of
of
indie 2D action games.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I remember playing a demo of it and not playing any of that overworld stuff, that strategy layer. I don't know if they added that kind of post or whatever.
Pulled
But
up some screenshots. This looks kind of cool.
yeah, it's a good look to it, good feel to it as well. So there's like 4 different weapons that you can equip. You need to unlock them playing the overworld stuff. But the coolest thing I think about like the weapon switching stuff is in previous games like Devil May Cry, you can kind of switch your weapon and continue the combo or something like that. I have a hard time with that because I just lose track. In this game, say you've got like 3 hits with like a sword or something like that, and you do the switch. That switch will actually count as a hit and continue the combo, and it kind of pauses for a second.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
You can kind of get your bearings.
Yeah.
But everything, I'm really digging the feel of that game. I just wish there was a little more to it. But
Sounds like a Jason ass game.
it is a Jason ass game for sure. Yeah, it looks good, plays good. I like it a lot.
Yeah. A lot
Other
of
than
indie,
that,
lot
yeah.
of indie stuff this week.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. But yeah, Tacoma, I popped in last night too, and Peter wanted to ask you. So I'm like an hour in right now. Not a lot is happening, but I've read that like something happens that kind of like spurs the story along.
Yeah, it's
No spoilers.
it's very
Right.
it's very close to the end though.
Okay.
You're gonna feel like you're kind of just going through the motions until you get to that point.
Okay.
Well, it's
yeah.
a destination, the journey kind of thing, where you're more like finding these small narratives than
Yeah.
the big thing, which is fine.
Yeah,
I was immediately
they are
attracted to Gone Home though. Like as soon as I got into like that environment, just picking up the little VHS tapes or whatever. And
There's just like so many little cultural touchstones in Gone Home that immediately kind of grab you.
Yeah.
and I'm not getting that in Tacoma.
I
is
think
the
you'll
thing.
get there soon enough where you start to see certain characters provide that through their actions and
Okay.
their things. I mean, definitely follow individuals, away from group conversations. Like see what everyone does when they're alone, when they're with just one other person in
Right.
particular, or something like that. It takes a minute to spin up.
Yeah.
You'll get there and then it'll end.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, the first like major like replay area that I got to, that
Yeah.
that certainly spurred the
party,
story.
right? Is
Yeah,
that-
the party.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first thing. And there's an urgency there, but then it kind of reverts back to like backstory, and
Yeah.
that's where it's kind of losing me. So hopefully, it'll pick up again.
I think it will for you.
Hearing
hope
that
so.
it's shortish kind of makes me want to get into it
Right.
sooner than
Yeah,
later.
yeah. If
Just
you have
kinda sit
access
down
to
and-
it.
I think
Yeah.
I played through Gone Home in one sitting, so
Yeah.
that seems like the way
Not
to
too
go.
tough.
All right, let's read some news. In the dog days of summer here, absolutely nothing is going on except for people's SNES Classic pre-orders getting canceled. Did you get one? Thanks,
I
guys.
pre-ordered 2, and they both got
I
canceled.
saw
Yeah.
Jeff tweeting about it.
Yeah, Jeff's got canceled. It sounds like I think 100% of them
Yes.
got canceled. That
Yeah.
Walmart
I was like,
straight up said technical glitch.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, we didn't mean to put that thing up and
don't-
let you get all excited on a Friday night.
I don't really understand why that would be like why they couldn't. Maybe they had more pre-orders and they could actually fulfill.
It's
later
possible,
on, I
yeah.
suppose, or something, but
And or maybe they didn't want to piss off a bunch of people who didn't have a chance to prepare. You know, angry customers who were out on a Friday night instead of like buy a computer ready to buy a SNES.
The only people loyal to Walmart are people who live by a Walmart.
Yeah.
No one shops at their online store because they want to. I don't think.
Right. Just
Um,
because it's there and they have what you want.
Right. So I don't think they're worried about winning people back.
they do game downloads.
Who? Walmart?
Walmart.
You mean like they sell codes?
No, like Amazon does. You can buy PC downloads. I'm curious.
I just imagine Walmart
didn't-
having their own distribution platform.
I don't-
what
I
that
don't
would be
think
like.
so.
Yeah, no,
They're
I don't know.
fucking huge
I don't-
retailer.
I
I
don't
mean,
think so.
Oh,
They
totally.
might.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, there was like a client though. That would be ridiculous.
like I said, I don't check Walmart for anything, but I mean, just curious.
Dude, there are
Yeah.
so many. I was so happy for so many years that, like, yes, it's kind of dangerous to concentrate so much power in Valve's hands, but I was like so happy to just have Steam and nothing else for so long.
Yeah.
Just
I-
one icon in your tray, and that's it. You're good.
I
You can play
don't-
all your games.
I don't mind Origin. You play
But dude, there are so many now.
Dog.
everybody-
They all work fine.
Everybody's doing their own launcher now.
It's totally not unexpected. It's like Netflix, where Netflix was the only thing for a while. now.
Yeah, I guess.
Now
so.
we have CBS All Access for the America's Most Watched Network, where you can find shows like Candy Crush
Yeah.
Saga,
Yeah.
Bothers,
starring Mario Lopez.
That Mario Lopez, he never ages.
it bothers me though when you look at something like Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
Where that should live on Steam and
Yeah.
should live in early access, but
Yeah.
it don't.
Yep.
It lives on Epic's own store
Yep,
and it's
totally.
not properly
Yeah, Epic-
labeled, and it's a lie.
Epic is one, like Bethesda, like everybody's got their own fucking crappy launcher now.
Have you seen, just to divert for a second, have you seen that Fortnite is for sale on Amazon for full price and doesn't mention early access?
Oh, that seems bad.
Yep.
That thing is very early.
Yep. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, we had the director of
Yeah.
that game come by last week, and he was like super upfront in that video about how early access that thing is.
Yeah, I've been told it is a true beta.
Yeah, like he flat out
So-
said, like, because we were kind of not exactly giving him a hard time, but we were just saying, hey, like some of the tutorial stuff in this is kind of not there, or
Yeah.
it doesn't explain itself very well, and like he flat out said, like, yeah, that stuff is like a quarter of the way to finished, to what I would consider finished.
So say that, man.
And I was
like-
just like, man, that just a little bit of messaging would have gone a long way on
That's more of an alpha than a beta.
on the completeness of this product that you are charging money for.
yeah, like when you search buy Fortnite, it takes you to their page, and you have to scroll down like 6 to 8 page lengths to get to the part where it says early access
Yeah.
season starts
Which
now.
is funny because when you buy it, like when you launch it on
first
the
thing you see.
PS4, there is a gigantic yellow early access sign the second that you launch that thing. Like it's once you've bought in, it's pretty obvious.
Grumble.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That game seems cool. Once it's finished, I think that thing will be neat.
Yeah.
But it's
I think I'm gonna steer clear of it.
yeah,
until
I'm
it's
probably gonna
finished.
wait until it's significantly.
It's totally playable now.
updated.
And
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like I know that shit's gonna change.
Yeah, I mean, if
so-
you're committed and you really want to play it, there's the subreddit, there's YouTube videos, like you can figure everything out, but
Mhm.
it's not as inviting as it could be by any means.
it seems like
UI
they're
look
they're
good.
pretty in tune with like the community and stuff.
Yeah.
So they might make some changes.
think
So
it'll-
if you really like the game, hey, get involved.
They're saying more like February for that game to really be like 100%.
I mean, 2018 is the release.
Okay.
Also, if you wait till release, it'll be free to play, so you can just download it.
Yeah, that
So,
UI
yeah.
just drove me a little crazy.
Kinda, yeah.
do you know you can pay 100? Like it's
150 bucks.
150.
But then there's another version inside the game
What?
that you can buy for 250.
What?
Something like that.
After
Good.
you've already bought
I like
in?
spending
Yeah.
money multiple times.
The only other thing I
Finish
can think
stuff.
of, like where the early access is more expensive than there was that Total Annihilation clone that where planets were smashed together and everything like that.
Oh,
That came out like $80 for early access and it was $50 when it came
Yeah.
out, which seems
Yes.
like you're paying more
that
to play.
seems like the wrong way to go. Most games get more expensive when they come out of early access.
I have a great time. At this point, I go back a year, and all the stuff that came out last year, I'm playing and have a great time. Even stuff I've played before. I don't need to pay extra money to play a beta.
I
It's
think
super weird.
if I weren't in the position of having to cover early access games, I would probably never play an early access game. I would just
Yeah.
like I don't know why you would when you could just wait until
Play
it's
Dead Cells.
until it's finished. Like even that game, I don't want to play it until it's done because
Yeah, I felt the same way as you, but then I started playing it. It's really.
I mean it sounds amazing.
It's yeah.
But I watched Jason play some of it in like one of those early areas. You walked up to like what should have been some kind of vendor or upgrade
sure,
type
yeah.
thing, and it was just like, oh, this isn't in the game yet.
It is now.
Well, that's great, but I'm just gonna wait till it
Sometimes you get to re-earn achievements. It's great.
says,
Double the fucking payoff.
let me know when it says 1.0, and I
Okay.
will gladly.
Well,
try
even
out
Star
Dead Cell.
Citizen's coming up on like 3.0 now. You can't even trust release numbers
Let's not-
anymore.
let's not
And that's
talk
been
about it.
delayed apparently.
Well, has it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know what? We have an occasion to get back to that in a few minutes here. Yeah, so Walmart canceled all those pre-orders, but then just minutes ago, Nintendo posted to their Facebook about
What?
this thing. Oh, you didn't see that?
You said minutes ago.
Like, yeah,
No, I've been in here.
yeah, like literally 15 minutes before this podcast started.
Am
Jeez, where have you been?
am I
Peter?
to be-
I
Christ.
will. No. There's no urgency. You can't pre-order anything yet. You've got some weeks, I believe. Here, I'll read you the entirety of their statement from Facebook. We appreciate the incredible anticipation that exists for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Super NES Classic Edition system.
Wow.
And can confirm that it will be made available for pre-order by various retailers late this month.
Okay.
A significant amount of additional systems will be shipped to stores for launch day and throughout the balance of the calendar year.
So maybe it won't be so hard to get.
So, I would imagine I guess all those retailers will probably run pre-orders at the same time.
Yeah.
I would hope. I don't
What's
know.
the,
Is that how they usually do it?
I would assume so.
Or is it up to them to pick? Like, I
don't
wonder if they're just Nintendo's gonna come out and say, like, all right, 11 a.m. on the blah blah blah, that's the day.
It could just
That's
be
the time. Pick your retailer and go. Or
It might even be that Nintendo doesn't tell the stores their allotment until a certain day.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's when
maybe.
they can flip the switch.
Maybe.
And they all get it simultaneously. and
Sure,
do it.
sure.
I
What's
don't know.
the NES Classic going for on like an eBay?
Oh, I don't know.
It's like
Oh,
150.
you know, actually, we'll get to that soon too.
Okay.
I've got emails about all these topics. A lot.
Good.
Because you can't get it anymore. Yeah, they don't say what retailers, but I would assume Walmart, Target,
Yeah, Best Buy,
the
GameStop.
usual.
I almost said GameSpot.
Yeah. Wait, you guys don't take pre-orders for the...
No, I'll gladly take your pre-order.
PayPal too.
Yeah.
Peter
So-
Brown at GameStop.com.
So yeah, like, 3-ish weeks, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks, you'll be able to pre-order that thing. So I guess.
Okay.
No release date though? They're just later this year.
September 29th.
Oh, okay.
That's the release date?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like right before holiday. I thought it was.
September 29th.
Is that when the NES came out last year?
No, that's
roughly.
like-
That was November.
Yeah, I thought that thing was
think.
like November, so I assumed it would be the same thing. We talked about it last week. I have zero use for that fucking thing, and I still like just feel myself tensing up when they talk about pre-orders. I just like I can't resist the urge to just like
Star Fox 2 in its completed form.
follow the crowd and get the damn thing. Do you think? I think we talked about this a little bit. Do you think that ROM will get dumped? Like, there's surely,
Yeah, I think it will.
surely somebody will get that game out of there.
Yeah, I believe so.
Not that I'm condoning downloading Star Fox 2. Just buy the system, I guess. But
We're gonna review that game.
Are you really?
It's a new game.
That's amazing. That is awesome.
Why not?
But it's not like a standalone release, though.
Shut
I
up.
st-
I want to review Star Fox 2.
Can
but
always, anytime you try to pick apart the logic of video game reviews, you can always get somebody on a technicality.
We're gonna do a
No, that-
full review for Fortnite. I can tell you that.
That is that is definitely a sticky situation. But yeah, reviewing Star Fox 2 is an amazing idea. That's good stuff.
Probably will not get a good score.
I
You
saw
don't think so?
somebody-
No, have you played any of the prototype?
No, I've
ROMs?
never messed with the
It's
prototype.
not a great
Is it not good?
Nah.
And it was finished, or this is the finished version. Like,
Right. Yeah.
From what I read, they finished it back then and just decided not to ship it. So it's not like they went back
Yeah.
recently and touched it up.
Yeah, maybe they have, like, who knows, but yeah, it was finished, and the idea was like, well, we don't want to look like shit compared to the PlayStation, like, so there's not a lot of flight, there's a lot of like on ground stuff, like walkers and tanks, and if I remember correctly, tanks.
Is there on
It's a little
foot stuff?
awkward.
That's what we love about
Well,
Star Fox
you're
games.
in like a
I thought you were
bipedal walker.
You're in like a tank. Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's what I look for in a Star Fox game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Star
Also,
Fox Adventures.
don't you have to
Yeah.
beat the original in this before you can unlock 2?
The
Is that
first
right?
level is what they said.
Oh, just the first level.
Yeah.
That's not
Right.
so
Oh, I
bad.
forgot about that. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
not so bad.
Nah.
It's good luck. Which makes you think maybe Star Fox 2 doesn't have a tutorial or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's a slow ass summer. Like there's not a lot of games coming out, and there's also not a lot of news breaking right now. But
Make our own news here.
I've got some stuff. I'm glad Peter's here this week because your flea market nemesis, Chris Kohler, has been posting some stuff.
Mhm. I don't go to flea markets anymore.
No,
No.
what?
My collection's too big.
You're done.
I feel
You
like
finished it?
I feel like I'm done. I feel like I know the things I want.
Yeah.
And what
you're
I
not
want-
likely to find them at a flea market.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's like top 3?
Top 3 things I want.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a very clean copy of Super Metroid. Not like the cartridge, but the box specifically. I have a good card. I have a good manual. I'll really like to have a nice version of that box.
You're not looking for factory sealed or anything, just the box?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, it's to be appreciated and not locked away or anything like that.
You're not trying to get anything graded.
No. I hate that. That whole thing. I don't really have like big holy grails necessarily. But like I know if I go to Japan, for example, like there's certain Saturn games I'll look for from Japan, like stuff like that. I mean, I got kind of like when I got Panzer Dragoon Saga, that was like, wow, I think I've kind of like peaked a little bit. Like that was one of those things where it was like, man, someday I'll get there. And like I got there, and it's like, okay,
that was
great.
the cry for help.
Yeah, did you come out of that going like, wow, I can't believe I just spent that much money?
No.
Did you ever beat that?
No, I haven't beat it yet.
Have you played it again since our stream?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Not much.
Okay.
I have too many games and I need to sell them right now, and that's the logistics of that. I have about 500 games I'm trying to sell.
Okay.
The logistics of that is really tough. There's a Facebook group I belong to where I tried to sell it to some people. A couple deals fell through. There's a lot of low balls, and it just felt like I'm.
If only there was a place you could go that you could set up shop.
Yeah,
and
just
like buy churros or something.
Just like fold out, get a card table.
Yeah.
And set up your wares.
You should.
I
could go to a flea market.
Like a bazaar of some sort.
Isn't California Extreme like kind of that place
Oh,
for a lot
yeah.
of people?
So sort of.
I went to California.
Oh, did you go?
Yeah, I did.
I've heard like on the
For a few
second
hours,
on the
though.
second floor or something, they like have some vendors, but like
They had like a scrapbooking convention this year. So
Okay.
and some like.
I mean, it's
stage show
that
thing.
thing is mostly for arcade machines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a lot of like wheeling and dealing.
So Chris
going on
Kohler
there.
brought his
There's
stuff
some,
there
yeah.
last year,
Oh,
and
yeah?
he actually told me, "Oh, you should sell your stuff at California Extreme." I
Yeah.
forget about that show every year until it's
I
like
do too.
hovering over me.
Yeah.
But
It's
there-
always like the Friday of when it starts that
Right.
somebody's like, "Hey, I'm going to California Extreme this
Yeah.
weekend." I'm like, "Oh,
it's kind of a far drive.
Yeah.
A little bit. But no, there's a gaming swap meet coming up, so I'm gonna bring some
Hmm.
stuff there, and we'll see what happens. I just need to sell it on eBay, but it's
I hate eBay for selling.
Yeah.
It's always. I have a really old, like the first Penny Arcade print they did, which
Okay.
I've seen people sell for like $800. But
yeah.
I do not want to put it on eBay just because I'm sure there are protections and everything like that. But all I ever hear about eBay is people getting scammed for
Scams,
selling.
scam,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So I sold like maybe a dozen Famicom carts as sort of like a test run. Okay, like what is it like to have multiple things and ship them all out? And I essentially put it at a price where I was like, okay, I'm the lowest price for this cart. But I did that because I was taking the burden off myself by putting untested, sold as is for all these games.
Mhm.
So that way, and no returns. So
Yeah.
that way there's like, I literally can't be touched. You give me my PayPal money, you get your game, we're done. Like there's no back and forth unless you got the wrong thing, but no one did. And it was okay. But if I'm trying to sell 500 games, like
it's a lot of games."
that's
Yeah.
that's a lot of games, right? And so maybe
Individually,
a second
like each
job,
one individually.
so that's the other thing. And maybe I sell
Or just could
lots.
make a
right?
lot.
But
Yep.
but then it's like, okay, how do I ship a lot? Like I
Yeah.
don't have the right scale to figure out what to charge. So I should just buy a scale for that. But I ain't got time for that shit.
Bring it to work and ship it through the mill thing and hope
No.
nobody notices.
Rory.
Or just build a throne out of your 500 games like at Super
It's
Potato,
Super Potato, I know.
and
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah, I've been giving a couple games away to people that I know want them, and that's been nice. I like doing that.
You got any?
You're like the Robin Hood of
any
classic.
copies of Snatcher?
retro
Something
games.
like that? You
I
have
wish-
version of Snatcher?
I don't have Snatcher.
I lost
That's
mine,
That's sort of
but-
like the I guess that and Panzer Dragoon Saga were the two. Like, oh, but
Yeah.
having played Snatcher a little bit through emulation and stuff, it's like maybe I could just watch a Let's Play of this.
I was
and
always,
be
yeah,
happy.
yes, I was super
Yeah.
fascinated by Snatcher for fucking, I don't know, close to 20 years, like ever since it was
Yeah.
talked about in 90s game magazines. And then we did that old game show where
Yeah.
Jeff played some of it for a while, and I was like, all right,
That-
I
that-
know what Snatcher is
It
now. That's cool.
belongs in that time and place.
Yeah.
The gameplay and aesthetics and everything. Yeah.
What about Police Knots? Have you guys
Police
played
Knots?
that?
Yeah, I feel the
The translated
translated
one? Yeah.
version.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
that-
that was kind of a that was a big moment. Yeah, because it had not been translated for so long. It just recent.
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
like in the past year. Or
So it was like,
that.
oh no, it was I'd say like 3-4 years ago,
Okay.
maybe even a couple more. Slow Beef
Yeah.
and somebody else were working over at PoliceNots.net to not just translate the PlayStation version of the game, but create new graphics to go over stuff that had
Whoa.
Japanese text. It
Huh.
is a very
huge undertaking.
diligently done translation localization.
That's like Slow Beef, like famous Let's Play.
Yeah.
Slow Beef,
Yeah.
same guy.
Yeah.
It's a great site too. Junker,
Oh,
or
geez,
like
that's-
Junker HQ.
Junker
That
HQ
sounds,
done
that
it,
sounds like
yeah.
an incredible amount of work.
Yeah, it seemed that way, and for a while it was sort of like not going to get finished, and then they kind of just like they did this like marathon at the end, and they got it done.
Wow, that's cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still haven't played it. Like it's sitting on my hard drive, but I
Right.
haven't done it. Yeah.
I asked you about Panzer Dragoon. I was actually curious if you ever got any further in FF12.
Yeah, I did get a few more hours into it. I had kind of
Lost the thread.
Well, part of the problem is we never just bouncing from quick look to quick look and stuff like that. Like
it's a long game.
Very
even
hard to
4x
finish
speed.
games, even like 10, 12-hour games, much less like, 40-hour game or whatever.
Still really curious about that one, but I really do hope they put it out on Steam. Like
Yeah.
just like FF15,
Yeah,
I have
like-
15 too, and I'm just kind of like I really want that on. A
So
PC
many
version.
Final Fantasy games have ended up on Steam
Yeah.
that I would be shocked if that one doesn't in the relatively near future. Speaking of shrink-wrapped games and lots and blah blah blah, did you see this factory sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers that sold
Yes.
for over $30,000?
Yes.
Which is fucking insane. Like that's like stadium events money.
Well, that
Yeah.
was so that
That's
game
not-
was mostly packed in with the NES, so there weren't
No,
as many.
They sold. According to this thing Kohler
so.
read up, like, he just says it's one of the most common. I mean, obviously, it's one of the most
It's
common NES games there is. I assume there are plenty of like straight up boxed,
Yes.
like store bought copies out there.
I mean, there's different versions of this game. I think the reason it sold for what it is, the context, like what this game represents, right, is one thing. The fact that it is in the condition it is in is another thing. I mean, this is like like beyond what you need for, to pass the bar for like museum quality piece. I mean, it is
Is it just like pristine?
pristine.
I think he says somewhere in this article that it's thought to be the highest quality condition
Right.
copy of
of the most influential video game ever
sealed
made.
Super Mario Brothers in existence. Basically, this is like the
Right.
the most. Yeah, like if you were going to put one in a museum, it would be this one.
Right.
From the sound of it.
I mean, you can look back to so many video games that came before Mario, but Mario and Nintendo really did shape what video games
Yeah.
became,
Yeah.
at least in terms of mainstream video games.
Are you saying that this item is the single most important video game on the planet?
No, that's Salamander, obviously.
Uh,
Because that joke doesn't fly with Giant Bomb. That's all right.
Sorry, that one went over my head.
It's not worth explaining.
All right. Yeah, he says this is like, it's like you said, this is some like early variant of the game. Like it's got a hang tab on the back,
Right.
which means it was one of the earliest produced copies of the game.
Yeah.
And it is, just in like flawless condition.
Yeah. I mean, you'd expect that plastic to even have a little nick or tear, and it
Right.
just from everything you can
Right.
see about it, it's just like there's no flaws. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
But he says a loose copy of that game goes for like $10.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
that tells you how rare this thing is.
you can get it for
for
less. For
30
sure.
grand.
Yeah.
Says a store in Pennsylvania has just been sitting on it for years.
What?
They don't know where they got it from.
Oh, the provenance is not there.
They had a couple other games as well that they sold for lesser amounts.
I wish I knew how I got it. Is the line from the owner of this video game store?
Somebody's gonna pop it open, and it'll be one of those weird gold Tecmo NES cartridges.
Yeah. Apparently so I think he sold it through eBay.
But seriously, without like provenance, though, how do you know that somebody hasn't just reshrink wrapped that? I'm assuming they can do tests and shit like that, but
There's certain tells in terms of how it was shrink wrapped that like you couldn't do outside of a factory, for example. Now, $40,000 at stake.
Yeah.
Maybe you could find someone in a factory to do it, but that's such a weird length to go. And more often than not, there are experts that are bidding on these things,
Sure.
and then they're more knowledgeable than I am, and they can really tell the difference.
Yeah. So the guy who sold the game says that the same buyer also bought a lot of games that had a sealed copy of Kid Icarus in it for over $11,000, which I would assume Kid Icarus is another
What's the other-
pretty common NES game.
Somewhat common, not a very good one.
No,
what's the big unicorn, the track and field or something?
Stadium
Stadium
Events. That's the
Events.
one I mentioned.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
Like he
And there was a copy of that sold recently as well.
trying to find. I
Somebody
think
found
he-
like 10 of them in a closet or something a couple years ago, I think. Like
Yeah, he mentions that game in here. He says even like a loose open copy of
12.
that will go for like 10 grand easily
Yeah.
because there's just so few of them.
Yeah.
Collecting, it's weird. Speaking of which, somebody recently in Oceanside, California, at a thrift store found an Atari 2700, which I'd never even heard of.
It's a
Yeah, no.
prototype,
Oh, really?
yeah.
It was a prototype version of the 2600 with wireless controllers.
Huh. Like
Got it.
RF or something?
Yes.
I remember the old
Bluetooth.
thing where they were inventing the remote control for TVs. The story goes, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the story goes they couldn't. The guy thought nobody would know how to place batteries, so he said you have to make a remote control without
Well,
batteries.
yeah, nobody had a screwdriver.
And it was like
I know, right? It's impossible to change
it was like an
batteries.
ultrasonic switch that the TV would detect, and it never was powered. It was
Huh.
just like kind of
Yeah.
an on-off kind of
Oh,
thing.
weird.
Interesting.
Which I'm curious, like how when does this come out? Like 79?
I don't see a date here.
What kind of wireless technology was it using?
I believe it was RF.
Not IR.
Or
It was the year 2700.
I'm trying to find that bit here. Yeah. Controllers are radio controlled. The range was over 1,000 feet.
For my projector,
And it will give you
obviously,
cancer.
Yeah.
Which means you could easily affect your neighbor's system with your joysticks.
Hell yeah.
Imagine living in an apartment building where that 1,000-foot range could potentially affect 3 or 4 other systems.
It's like playing online, man.
Also, the controllers were only unique to left and right players and not to each individual console. So,
Yeah. It sounds
yeah, if you had 2 in the same apartment, that would not work either. Like,
reason it
just-
went through prototype and never came out.
but it's crazy because I'm trying to find the number of this was a prototype and they only made. Trying to find it.
20 or 30, I assume, like most. Or
There were 12.
12. Okay.
Yeah,
Shit.
there were 12 prototypes produced.
Where'd they find this thing?
At the Disabled Army Veterans Thrift Store in Oceanside, California.
Wow.
Some guy on Reddit bought it for $30 and then immediately turned around and flipped it for $3,000 on eBay.
I would. Only 12 in existence. You figured.
No,
you'd get
no.
more
So
than
this says this is also a Kotaku story that I pulled. This actually, I'm sorry, who's being quoted here? John Hardy of the National Video Game Museum. He says, given the propensity of companies, especially Atari, to destroy products that were scrapped, it seems highly unlikely that 8 or 9 of the original 12 survived. So he's saying there are only 3 known to exist still.
God damn.
Yeah.
And still only like $3,000.
Yeah, I'm actually three.
Huh.
3 sounds kind of low to me for a prototype that there's only like 3 of out there.
Right.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
don't know. Collecting,
That's very low, actually.
collecting is weird.
Yeah.
Now you gotta buy something right away. Needing the
That
money.
was his buy it now. It's just like, I'm going to make 10 times what I paid.
I think that might be it for news.
Metal Gear Solid 5 has an update coming up.
What?
I think it's today.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
What is it?
It's you can play as Revolver Ocelot on
right.
not in the single player
What?
game.
Right.
On the base mission stuff.
yes.
You can also give all your soldiers
Back
bathing
rub.
suits.
What?
Bathing
Who is updating Metal Gear Solid
Like
5?
Konami. Like
So-
I know, but who at Konami is doing it?
Some of
Right.
the people that used to work at Kojima Productions.
No shit.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, they're not all gone.
I just
There are
They
people
refuse
still.
to leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just lock the door to their office.
I saw.
Continually
I looked
updating
up
it.
last night. I launched Steam and Metal Gear Solid 5 an update pending. I was like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
I am pulling that up right now. That's crazy.
And some of the same people are working on the zombie game as well.
The
Survive.
Did you play that at E3?
No.
We were not able to get in to see it. Do you know anybody that played it?
Yes, and I forgot to ask them.
Okay.
But still, I mean, I actually Metal Gear Solid 5. That was, I think, maybe my game of the year, 2015.
It was the right choice.
for me.
And I have this hankering to go back and replay the entire thing. I spent maybe 150 hours in MGS5.
It's such an incredible fucking flawed game.
I know it's one of those weird
I will never
things
get
where
over.
You want that third act or whatever it's going to be, but it's
I will never get over how good that game is, and also how much better it could have been.
I really do have the hankering to go back, and I need to have a save game after that 2-hour opening, but hopefully I do. But seeing it updated, I just really want to go back and play it.
Yeah.
But I don't have the time, but I want to.
They're adding swimsuits.
That's what I said.
I hang up
Oh,
when people
yeah,
talk about
okay.
that game is that they bring up the flaws, but I feel like that overshadows the cool shit that really,
Oh, dude.
not even just the gameplay, you know, like the cool narrative stuff that happened in the middle of that game.
Yeah.
It was just like, like
Yep.
some of the shit in there is really cool, and everyone's just like, oh, but it's not finished.
Yeah,
So fuck that game.
The gameplay alone would have been. You could take out the entire story. It would have been a very much worse game without the entire story. But the
Sure.
gameplay alone, the iteration, and
Yeah.
the 80 hours of like upgrades and everything you go through, and the way the gameplay changes over time is fascinating. So yeah,
I've
tempted.
I don't know that I've ever played a game with like mission design that flexible and dynamic.
Yeah.
Like that could change in so many ways and react to the ways you approached it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like endlessly fascinating.
If we're talking about updates, did you guys talk about the Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer stuff?
No,
last
I
week?
saw some screenshots of that floating. Wait, multiplayer?
Yeah, online multiplayer. Make your own character. Play online. Take on quests.
Like
okay.
co-op multiplayer. Or
From what I understand, yeah.
fucking weird.
Is that out?
So August 3rd, so 2 days from now,
Okay.
anyone who has the season pass, which I'm sure Square Enix probably gave you guys, yes, you can
I don't think
you can
so.
play it from the 3rd to the 8th, I think.
Hook us up,
Like 5
Square.
days.
Oh, as a beta?
Or not.
Yeah.
I want to check that out.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
curious.
I
I
don't
enjoyed
need to play
that game.
multiplayer Final
I got
Fantasy.
I
10
hated the
hours.
story, but I enjoyed
fell
moving
off
around
of
the
it.
world. And
I fell off of
stuff.
it pretty
I
hard.
got 10 hours in, and I just kind of like I don't get it. I don't get the combat, and I need to play more. Obviously, like any the combat early on, that just felt like it was so intent on having you dodge and get out of the way, but then you'd be swarmed by like 10 enemies, and just you could get hit all the time.
Yeah, and they tweaked a lot of stuff about combat and added a lot. Like I feel like if I jumped in now,
I
I'd
need
be
to
a
try
little
it
bit
again.
lost.
I will try it again, but again, maybe just wait for a Steam version at this point.
I've been waiting for multiplayer. Holding out.
Yeah,
Here it is.
Split screen co-op. That's what I want.
now's the time. Finally.
But yeah, I don't know what those missions are going to look like. If they're new missions, if it's the
Right.
story stuff that you're just sort of like it's just masquerading as a
So how is
online
it?
quest.
Did you say it's competitive or no?
No, I think
Or it's
it's
just co-op?
cooperative.
Okay.
From what I can tell,
Could be fun.
yeah, it's probably gonna be weird. They also released their sort of like exosuits that used to look like Power Rangers, and then Saban was like, "The fuck," and then
I think that's what I saw a
changed that.
screenshot of. Some really
So
strange,
that's some different. Yeah, that's
strange looking armor.
Saban litigious? No.
No.
So yeah, like 30 minutes a day now, you can wear this suit that makes you invincible.
Wait,
and you look
what?
crazy.
Only 30 minutes a day?
Yeah, Brad.
What?
I get sweaty in there.
I love the fact that Haim Saban, the only person I can ever remember putting his name his own name in the name of the movie. Like it's not Power Rangers,
Right,
the one
Saban,
that
yeah.
Saban's Power
Yeah.
Rangers. Like anybody know who the fuck he is?
Gotta let him know.
Apparently, very very big ego on that dude.
Yeah, seems like it. All right. That was the news.
Thank you.
Such as it was.
I might
For
You're
keeping me informed.
You're welcome.
I might need one more break before we.
Oh,
go
I
to-
see how it
Is
is.
that okay?
Matt Rory's running this podcast.
I am sorry. I just want to make sure I get that in there.
All right, fine. We'll take one more quick break
Quick break.
and be right back. Emails. Everybody loves them. Yeah. Who's excited? Let's hear it for emails.
I'm so excited. I
They're-
played the music cue.
They're electronic. It's like,
Are they now?
It's like a mail. It's right there on your computer. Let's cut down on waste. It's a good thing.
Ground myself before I touch these emails.
Yeah. Get ready to go. Alexander writes in to bombcast@giantbomb.com and says, "Have any of you ever been in a fist fight as an adult? If yes, how did you do? If no, how do you think you would do if you couldn't avoid the fight? What tactics would you use? Which fighting style?"
Which fighting style? Like if
Like
you had more than one?
I would go with Muay Thai.
Like in a street fight, like, you're not picking a style.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yes.
just everything you know.
It's just whatever you can get your hands on.
yeah.
Or,
Like
yeah.
9 out of 10 fights end up on the ground.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
I don't think there's not some code of the streets where you're like squaring off in an arena, right?
no, that's in the bar. You square off, right? And you start pushing one another and, it's saying,
Yeah.
So
See, my
nasty
my
shit.
story will counter what you think is a tradition that's held up. I was sucker punched in a bar.
Whoa.
Did not get a chance to fight back.
Oh, no.
the punches do fly at some point.
That's
but-
not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was.
There was no squaring off? There was no like
No.
big chested shit? Like,
no. So this was a couple years ago at a bar where my buddy's girlfriend was working the bar. She was a bartender there. And some guy was like being kind of a dick, and me and my friend got him out. And so
To
we
her
were
or
like,
to you guys?
to her. So we
Okay.
were like, okay, yeah, we're protecting the bar now, whatever. And I see some guy in the back who is like shaking the ATM machine really vigorously. Now I did not go up to him with any sort of like pretense of like, I'm gonna stop this, and I didn't like be like, what are you doing? I walked up with a drink and I said, hey man, what are you doing? He grabs me by the shoe, goes, what does it look like I'm doing? And then just punches me in the mouth, like
Damn.
square. And I dropped.
Whoa.
Like
Wow.
I didn't get knocked out. Like I got back up, but at that point everyone is, and
that guy was not following the rules.
no. And so they were basically like, oh, do you want us to call the cops? Call the cops. Like, no, I don't want, because my buddy's girlfriend is like, oh, fuck. Turns out the guy is like the cousin of the owner of the bar and has a drug problem. And I don't know that he was trying to get money out of there, but he's just a fucking wacko.
All right.
And I walked up to the wrong dude.
Do you know who I am? This is my cousin's ATM.
Yeah, just let the guy
I need
have
all the money from
let
it.
the guy have his fun with the ATM next time.
What I realized at that point is that it doesn't take, it just can just take one punch and that can end a fight.
Yeah.
You never know.
Jason, it sounded like you got some
Oh, God.
experience.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to get picked on a lot because I
Yeah.
was like super skinny and whatever. So I was bullied an awful lot. Totally was. And I remember one time I was also a troublesome youth, and I ended up in like a shelter home, which is like a halfway house.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was released on like home release for one weekend, and you have to be on your best behavior, right? So I went out and it ended up getting into a fight with someone, but I didn't fight back because I didn't want to get in trouble. And yeah, this guy sat down on top of me and just like pounded my face and broke my nose and stuff.
Jesus.
And still deviated to this day. But after that, I had it and I started fighting back and shit. So yeah, I got into a lot of fights after that, and probably more than I should have.
I'm guessing it's not a lot of movie style trading blows so much as just like it's more grappling on the ground.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there's a couple. If you're not trained or anything, there's a couple. Punches that are thrown, but usually, you start grappling someone and try and wrestle them to the ground or whatever.
What are the do's and don'ts?
Do kiss.
Yeah, that'll piss someone off. Actually, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, if you're really like fearing for your life, don't be upset about punching someone in the throat, kicking in the eyes, maybe kicking in a kneecap. I'm okay with that if it's necessary, but you don't want to maim anyone.
I'm getting a fucking bottle. I'm doing whatever it takes.
You're gonna fuck up your hand.
Man.
The bottles don't break like that.
Still, but I mean, if you're fighting for your life, there's a whole different set of rules than like, hey, my girlfriend got insulted by somebody at the bar.
True. Yeah. So there's lots of different instances in which I don't want to incriminate myself, but
all right.
I've been in some fist fights, some for fun.
Okay.
Some, I remember walking out of a bar one time and it was with my buddy and I was super drunk and some of my buddies, I did not know them. They started talking shit to my buddy. They were just having fun with him. But I got up in their face and in their car and stuff. And I was looking for trouble and I'm through that now.
Sometimes that'll
I'm
happen.
over that. But I really like sparring an awful lot. So I took it, martial arts for a while.
In like a controlled setting.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of fun. Just
get your aggression out in a constructive way.
Not to hurt anyone though. Like I never want to fight to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Like I just like that the
physicality,
blow off some
the
steam.
thinking about it and stuff. Yeah, that's an awful lot of fun. But
Sweep
yeah,
the
you
leg.
could totally hurt someone. Like don't do that.
Yeah.
No
Or
shit.
you could
Matt Rory, you're a bare knuckle brawler. Right?
No. I go out to bars a lot, but I've never had a bar fight.
I've never even seen a bar fight actually that I can think
I've
of.
seen a
They're
few people
messy.
get kicked out and stuff. I mean,
I've seen people get kicked out for sure, but never like just two dudes
There's
like,
a dude-
beating the shit out of each other.
Dude at Black Magic up on Van Ness last year who got kicked out of a bar, came back and bit the bartender's finger off. What the
Holy shit.
There are some
Were you
fucking
there?
No,
Oh.
it was on the news though.
Okay.
I love Black Magic, but
Wow.
there are some cracked out crazy people in San Francisco and in
Yeah.
Oakland too. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know when something could be. I mean, there's a dude got shot in the head like a block away from
Fuck.
me in East Oakland, so it's not a great part of town to be picking fights, even in bars and everything like that.
Yeah.
My favorite bar story ever though, well, not a fight, and it's actually kind of personal, so I won't tell.
Oh, come on.
Damn.
Man.
There was we were at a bar not too long ago. And this is not a fight story. This is a funny, weird bar story. But we meet this older gentleman. It was a day of a 49ers game. We tried this new bar and we walk in, just almost empty, bunch of like 3 or 4 older gentlemen at the end of the bar drinking and having a good time being drunk. And we just ordered, the only thing that we could is like a Bud Light. There's nothing else that we really wanted. So we get it. And the bartender goes, the gentleman at the end of the bar has paid for your drink. And we don't know this dude, so he walks over and say, hi, my name is Matthew, this is my girlfriend. Immediately, as soon as he hears my girlfriend's name, he just fucking starts crying. Like, immediately. Oh, God. Oh.
What?
The love of my life is the same name as my girlfriend. The love of my life. She died in my arms. Mi corazón. And we think he's like fucking, there must be hidden cameras or something, or a scam or something like that.
A little over the top.
A little over the top. No, he pulls up his shirt, girlfriend's name tattooed over his heart.
Okay.
That's serious.
Weeping.
Those are
weeping,
some pretty
crying.
serious bona fides.
It did not become a fight, like I said. It's just a bar story. But,
Wow.
He has to go to the end of the bar to compose himself. We shotgun our beers as quick as we can, bust out, because we had no idea what the hell just happened.
Wow.
That was within like 5 minutes of sitting down. This guy bought us drinks and then started crying and had my girlfriend's name tattooed.
Makes,
over
makes
his
you think you're on like what would you do or something like that.
Woo!
Just like hidden cameras about to pop out.
But no, I've never been in a bar fight. I don't think I'm scrappy and I'm high energy, but I don't know if I'd do well. I'm not. I'm meaty in the wrong place.
They're just messy. Yeah.
Soft.
Yeah.
Drunks throwing fists at
Hard.
one another.
Yeah.
and it's
What
not
could go wrong?
it's not UFC.
Indeed. Here is a question from Matt in New York. Jeff's not here, but on last week's Bombcast, Jeff mentioned the timeless Konami classic Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah.
I found this to be one of the hardest games of the generation,
Seriously?
if not ever. I never even came close to finishing it, and I've tried countless times, both solo and co-op. Have any of you finished it? Am I a baby gamer?
No, you're not a big.
that a
I
NES
can't fucking.
Is it
beat
NES
Super
or Super
Nintendo
NES?
and
And-
Genesis.
yeah, there's-
Oh, both?
And they're
Okay.
different games.
I've never played it either, but I've heard, like it's kind of one
I
of
was
those.
run out of ammo, and man,
one of those super
fucking
well-known
werewolves
games.
just keep coming,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, they won't.
Is
let
it what
up.
is it? What is it? Just like a
So it's almost like
overhead shooter type
it's al-
thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Is it
and,
like
and
a-
you explore like a sprawling map.
like a Smash TV-ish kind of thing? or-
Not as
so
frantic.
much.
No.
It's
Yeah.
definitely like a maze type environment, and you got constant waves of enemies kind of coming at you,
more
and
of
you've
a-
got to go in and rescue people. But yeah, some areas are locked off, so you got to go find a key or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
You finished it?
fuck no,
Finished
it's
it?
hard as shit.
Oh.
I didn't actually like it that much.
Oh,
Played it when I
okay.
was younger. The interesting thing about that game, though, is that the engine that it was used for that went on to basically facilitate the development of Metal Warriors on Super Nintendo.
Oh, cool.
Which is a very obscure
Yeah.
LucasArts production that is it might as well be a Japanese mech game
Yeah.
that's part of the Assault Suit series, if you will.
I know.
Or Cybernator is
Yep.
the one that we got in the US. It's a really rad game. It's got one of like the coolest sci-fi intros for any Super Nintendo game. It's pretty expensive because people found out about it pretty late. No one bought it. But yeah, the Scum engine. No, was it? No, it wasn't
No.
Scum. No, it wasn't. Sorry, no, it wasn't Scum.
Maniac Mansion.
No. Yeah, it has a different. There's a different name for the engine that was used
Huh.
for Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Oh, it's Zam. Zam.
Weird. What were Konami and LucasArts doing sharing engines?
Man, I have no idea.
That's
And you know, it's funny. The game didn't come out in Japan.
Huh.
Even despite it being like super Japanese, seemingly.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna file some of these away. If only we had a venue to explore some of this classic material.
Some of those old games.
Yeah.
I've got Metal Warriors. I can bring it in.
Really?
Yeah.
We should talk later.
What you doing later?
You want to talk about some weird food?
Yes.
Here's some weird food after county fair talk last week.
Oh God, I've been craving cheese curds ever since then.
Well, you're in luck. Got a message from Bill in New Brunswick in Canada.
Okay.
Talking about corn dogs, however.
Mm.
Up here in Canada, we put pure maple syrup on corn dogs, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. Come
idea.
at us.
Oh yeah,
Good
totally.
idea. Very good idea.
Sure.
Especially with like a Pronto pup, because like a Pronto pup, like it's a corn dog, right? But it's less cornmeal and it's
Pronto
more
pup?
Pronto. Yeah.
Pronto.
Like a microwave thing?
No. I mean,
Why is it called a Pronto pup?
it's just the name. I don't know,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
more like pancake batter as
Sure.
opposed to the cornmeal stuff, which I don't like because it's a texture thing. But
Wait, syrup on corn dogs?
Yeah, he
But
says.
Hell yeah.
Mustard is cool too as a change of pace. One of each is my typical order. The one time of year I get these things. This is only okay on corn dogs as the batter lends well to the combination.
Yeah.
This type of shit probably ain't okay on a regular hot dog.
No.
nah.
I'm a mustard and onions fella there, but whatever floats your boat is cool. Get weird with it.
Bacon and syrup go together.
Yeah,
fantastically.
I was
That's
gonna
the
say
totally
like
thing.
fucking pancakes and syrup and breakfast
Yeah.
meat,
Mhm.
bacon,
sausage
bacon,
too.
sausage, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Works-
I
works
wouldn't
very
know.
well.
Maybe
Fried chicken.
I don't want
perhaps?
to. I don't want a sweet
With
hot
some-
dog. I don't think I'd want a sweet corn dog either.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't like relish on a hot dog either. It's too, or even really ketchup. Like the sweet hot dog, kind of weird.
You ever been to Broadside
But
over
a
in
corn,
Oakland?
a
You
corn
have
dog I
been.
could see.
What's it called?
Broadside, the sausage place down by the water.
Yep.
They have
Yeah,
the
we've been there.
spiciest fucking mustard you'll ever have.
It's
Like,
great.
Literally, you breathe it in. You eat some and it goes to the top of your mouth and you start breathing in through your nose and all of a sudden your mouth is on fire. That is the kind of stuff I want on sausages and hot dogs.
Mhm.
But no, syrup on a corn dog would be probably a bridge too far for me. I'm thinking. I haven't had a corn dog in a long time.
I can't wait to try it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it.
It kind of sounds. It sounds
If
pretty
you're
awesome.
at a county fair or a state fair, you are
Or my
getting
kitchen.
some 8,000 calories in a day. That's really
Yeah.
what you're doing. So
Yeah.
might as well go whole hog.
Yep, just go for it. Let's see. James wrote in from Japan about pizza.
Yeah, pizza in Japan is inconsistent.
Yes. with the recent talk of pizza toppings, I thought I would share with you the ongoing horrors of Japanese pizza. I've lived here for about 4 years now, and it seems that they just keep getting more horrific by the day. Highlights at Domino's include the tropical, pineapple, ham, and corn.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The shrimp mayonnaise,
No.
Juicy
No.
juicy shrimp, corn, and melted mayonnaise and cheese.
Oh.
Melted mayonnaise? Isn't mayonnaise already kind of melted?
Yeah, but don't discount heated up mayonnaise. Trust me.
Oh.
Oh, good. Oh, dude.
No.
Oh, bake some. Okay, so take some.
No.
Hold on. Take some salmon.
No.
Wait a minute.
Take some salmon. Put
No,
a thin layer of
Fish and
mayo on top of it. Cover it in furikake, which is like this Japanese little
Yeah,
seasoning mix.
yeah.
What'd you
Bake that
call
shit.
me?
Bake that shit in the oven so good.
Hmm.
It's so good.
Does the mayonnaise even like stay there? Like I figured it'd be
Yeah.
all like kind of.
No, you don't put a lot of it. You put just like
Just
a
a
thin
glaze?
layer, just to like congeal it, and put a little glaze on there.
I'm a Miracle Whip person myself.
That's fair.
No, it's gross. It's really, really
I don't think I've ever actually eaten Miracle Whip.
I just remember the ads from a few years ago where like, we will not be told what mayonnaise to put.
That's
It
right.
was all these like hip millennials
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're never gonna do the mayonnaise thing. We want a little spice in our lives. Like it's whipped oil. It's disgusting.
There's a great hot dog place in Japan to sort of to combine those two stories. In Akihabara,
Okay.
there's this place that only serves hot dogs, and you can even get like dessert hot dogs where it's not actually like a hot dog, but it's dessert served in a hot dog bun.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
Huh.
like 4 or 5 dozen different things you can get on a hot dog, or not even a hot dog. They have boom boxes all over the place, and in the bathroom is a mosaic of butts made up of photos of other butts.
Yeah.
I love that place.
Wow.
And
All right.
they sell American like craft beer, which at the time Blue Moon used to be craft beer. I think it was like $8 a can.
Good Lord.
But it was like, man, what a little island.
There's some fast food stuff in Japan. I remember Mossburger was.
I remember that TGS we went to where you were just like would not stop eating.
I
You're like, well, I can expense it. I'm just gonna eat everything. And, like I literally watched him walk out of a Moss Burger having just eaten a meal there and like walk right into the Nathan's and just like start ordering hot dogs.
Dude,
You're just like eating meal after meal.
there were some great donuts too. I remember a couple of donuts.
Mr.
Did
Donut.
you just break your case?
Dude, this thing has been falling apart.
Oh, I think we're on the same boat.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some more of these pizzas?
Yeah, I do actually.
The hot Domino's, the mayo Jaga, Jaga.
It's mayo over there the same thing that we have mayo over
Probably.
here? It's the same thing.
It's a little bit
tastes
different.
different.
So yeah, if you ever had Kewpie mayonnaise, that's what they tend to use as their mayonnaise. It's a little bit different. I don't know how to quantify
It's an
that.
aioli. I love aioli.
Yeah, it's closer
Yeah.
it's closer to that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The mayo Jaga is potato, corn, parsley, and double mayo. They have something called the crab gratin, which is cheese, onion, potato, crab, and pancetta.
I need that undercover brother like secret watch that squirts out hot sauce for all this stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do it with mayonnaise.
They
Don't
have-
even talk to me about sour cream. I got some blowback on Twitter for my statements about sour
Yeah.
cream.
How about tartar sauce? They have an indigenous pizza chain called Pizza La that has a sweet and sour chicken with tartar sauce pizza.
Tartar sauce is exclusively a fish thing
Sounds-
for me.
That sounds foul.
Fish and tartar sauce go together. Anything else?
Yeah.
I always hear Korean pizza is the really, really weird one. Like that is the place
You're
where
gonna
they
get like a full squid on there.
it's like sliced up American
Cool.
American cheese slices and mayo and corn, and that's what they put that in the oven. And that could be a total slander against Korean pizza. I'm not sure, but
He's got a handful of Pizza Hut
Oh, I
entries
know.
here. The tuna mild,
Nope.
tuna mayonnaise, bacon, onion, and corn.
I assume that Japanese people find the spicy tuna thing over here to be a really weird thing, so they go
Right.
mild tuna.
Maybe.
How do you mild a tuna?
I don't know. They have the seafood mix has squid or tuna with mayonnaise, broccoli, and onions.
I just want
And
a pizza
then-
with like pure octopus, like a live octopus on top of it.
And then the shrimp mayo bacon with popcorn shrimp, mayonnaise-based sweet sauce with tomato paste and ketchup, corn, bacon, and gourmet mayonnaise.
What's for
I
this
would dip
fucking
my balls
mayo,
in
I
that.
don't know, man.
Oh,
I don't know.
Mayo is good.
nah.
In small quantities, it can be. I like a light mayo.
Full-bodied mayo.
No, I don't mean like, I like want light mayo. I mean
Okay.
I like a coating of mayo.
Sure. The essence of mayo.
If you're gonna get light mayo, why even bother? Just put water on it.
Yes. Sure, they're exactly the same. Oh man, Colton from Massachusetts.
Colton. I always like the name Colton. Colton.
Yeah.
It's a good name. It's
That's
good
him.
solid. It's like I play high school quarterback, of course.
Congratulations, Colton. Matt Rory
appreciate it.
really likes your name.
It also sounds
Good
like
job.
Colt ham, which is that stuff that goes in all the chips nowadays.
What?
So you're like also you could be a cyborg or a high school quarterback.
What is he talking about?
You know what Colt ham? You know what Colt ham is?
I don't know. I like it though. He says, I'm eager for Nintendo to roll out their new iteration of the Virtual Console. I guess we should say
Yeah.
that there's no indication they're actually going to do that.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, most people seem to think they're not anyway. A lot of we get emails like every week or two about the Virtual Console on Switch, and I'm always just like, "Would they?"
Wait, did they say something? Yeah.
No. I'm just like, dude, they didn't say
Oh, right.
anything. Like, there's
Can
no.
they just make more money with the NES Classic and SNES Classic?
I don't know, but
I would expect them to release like bundles of games.
Yeah, do it some other way than
cartridge.
just like roll out the VC name for the umpteenth time. Anyway, he says, I am eager for Nintendo to roll out their new iteration of the Virtual Console, but nobody seems to mention that the Joy-Cons don't have a D-pad, essentially gimping every 2D classic that would be available on the Switch. Regardless of genre, I don't want to be messing around with those tiny individual buttons. Give me a real D-pad that I can slide my thumb across with complete control. What do you think are the chances of Nintendo releasing a SKU of the Joy-Con with a real D-pad? Are we all fucked?
Doesn't the Pro Controller have a D-pad?
It does, but,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's
also
not very
$70.
portable. It's
Yeah.
it's. I thought it was 80.
Oh, sure, it could be. Yeah.
Like, are you gonna take it with you? Like,
No,
that's
I mean, I haven't thought about what Colton brought up. That's a very good point.
yeah, actually, like it kind of doesn't matter if they do a Virtual Console or not because they are doing those classic games with their subscription service. So like,
That's true.
classic games will be on the Switch one way or the other. And that
That'll be curious. Yeah.
lack of D-pad has always kind of rubbed me the wrong way on that thing.
I'm wondering if, like Microsoft requires licenses to make accessories for Xbox. Like, I wonder if Nintendo has any sort of policy in regards to.
Oh,
like,
people making third-party Joy-Cons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I haven't seen any third-party ones, but I mean, it's just like Bluetooth technology. I've seen tons of different Bluetooth controllers that are compatible
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
with Switch.
All the 8-bit DOS stuff.
Yep.
Which is pretty good.
Do we know, like, when they slide on, is there any physical connectivity there with contacts, or is it still wireless to the system even when they're, like,
I have to imagine there's some
Attached on
sort
the
of
side.
physical transmission.
I don't know.
I wonder if there's stuff built in there that they could block third-party
Mm.
Joy-Cons. Like, didn't they imply when they first announced that thing that they were open to the idea of, like, weird bespoke
I guess that's
Joy-Con
true.
controllers?
Yeah, that's true.
for other purposes? So maybe, I don't know.
I'm gonna use this as a venue to bitch about HD Rumble because I actually really fucking hate HD
Really?
Rumble. The
There's somebody.
whatever the structure is that thing is housed in inside the controllers. I was playing the Namco museum recently,
Yeah.
and it was playing Pac-Man, and it would die. Is like it's this like super intense. Like if they're not controlling the whatever
The level
the
of
power
rumble.
of it,
Yeah.
the level of it,
Not constraining
holy
themselves.
shit. No, yeah, like I felt like I was holding, like, you know, like when those things you used to be able to wind and hold in your hand,
Yeah.
like the buzzer.
Like a joy buzzer type thing.
yeah, I felt like I was
Alright.
holding one of those. It's like, fuck.
All right.
Like drop your Switch.
There was some weird story recently that I remember about some kind of headset that was, you mentioned HD Rumble. There's some new headset that was like the first thing to get certified as being HD
What?
audio or something like that.
Huh.
Like
Really?
full, I forget.
Yeah, you hear people
I
throwing
don't even
that
forget
term
what the
around.
hell, but it was like the first one for some bizarre thing that I can't find right now.
I will just give Jack from Sarasota, Florida credit. I just had to search this. He has emailed variations on the same email about HD Rumble for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, and we've never read it. So let's consider this reading his email. He's basically just asking if we think it's a gimmick or if they're ever actually going to do anything useful with it.
Yeah,
But
I liked it in 1-2 Switch. I thought it worked well there.
Yeah.
But as general purpose Rumble, I don't. That's weird.
I think it's.
I'm trying to think of the other
Oh.
applications. Like,
I just love the idea that HD Rumble with the limiter taken off is like too much Rumble.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it is too much.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe better or different Joy-Cons will come out at some point. Who can say?
Maybe they'll pack one in with a NES
Sure.
NES All Star thing.
Super Mario All Stars.
Just
It's coming out.
if they're gonna make a collection of older games or
Yeah.
SNES games or something like that,
Yeah.
just make a gray NES themed Joy-Con set or something.
Here's a pair of Street Fighter emails. Ben writes in and says, "Have you guys checked out Abigail's story mode in Street Fighter V yet?"
No, I've been steering clear of that stuff.
I ask because I legitimately can't think of a single reason for it existing other than Capcom becoming fully self-aware and purposefully churning out terrible content. This thing has to be seen to be believed. It's that bad.
Abigail's a monster. Yeah, visually. Like I can kind of get behind stylization and stuff. This is like, whoa, over the
Yeah,
top.
that
And
character
Capcom
is-
has been known to make some kind of goofy characters. Like
Sure,
when
yeah.
they, when fans wanted Mega Man in, like a Street Fighter game, they put Mega Man in, but you know what? He was the Mega Man 1 box art Mega Man.
Yes.
Oh,
He was pretty great.
You asked for
looking.
Mega Man. Here
Yeah,
you go.
here you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they've
is
done stuff
Abigail a
like that, but-
DLC card?
What's
Abigail?
that?
Yeah,
She-
he's one of the
He,
Oh,
actually.
Are
season
they
2 characters.
do they put in like big story mode campaigns for these characters as they come out?
So about story mode. And Street Fighter V.
About Street Fighter 5.
in general.
I haven't touched it. All the story modes that I have been super light.
So what he's talking about, the per character story modes, those are like
Yeah.
the ones that shipped with the original game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
super short little
like
3-4 fight.
Concept art,
barely
kinda.
even motion comic. Yeah,
Huh.
it's super. It's nothing.
Not the same as the like cinematic story mode or whatever
That's
they called it.
way
that
different.
was a separate thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is kind of a left field character for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Seems like people have been pretty
And that's cool,
split
like-
on him.
No,
in
but it's
general.
not cool because it should have been Hagar, man.
It could.
There's
There's
still
still room
Hagar
for
in
Hagar.
Marvel Capcom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they announced
Like
him for
he's-
Marvel.
he's-
okay.
I've got a game for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it.
All right.
Nah, MVCI looks and is pretty fun from
Okay.
what I've played.
Okay.
For sure.
Justin writes from Baltimore, also about Street Fighter. With the Season 3 changes leaked, the game will be adding Q, Sagat, Sea Viper, Sakura, Necro, arcade mode, UI changes, etc.
Wow, an arcade mode.
Yeah,
do you know?
imagine that in a fighting game. Do you think this is enough to save Street Fighter V, or has their DLC-heavy mentality and poor release ruined them from introducing new people to the game? From what I understand, everything besides the characters will be a free update, and where they will potentially officially tag it Super Street Fighter V.
And that's fine. I think they need to do that.
The name change, you mean?
Yeah, that's fine. You know, they have gone out and said, you know, there's not going to be like a different SKU or anything like that. You know, this
It's
is
still
gonna
just going to
something-
be another season of stuff to
just
get.
kind of roll
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
But there's such a stigma, you know, behind that game, and just the way that they've handled, you know, the DLC and how costly it is, and like I go in there and it's like I just want a few costumes, but I don't want to have to spend, you know, a shit ton of money. They're charging like what, $5 to like $8 or something like that.
That's kind of a lot.
It's a lot for a costume. You know, they're charging for stages as well, and you know, definitely you can get fight money, but it's hard to come by. Like
Yeah.
you can go through it, you know, some of the story or survival stuff, and there's also, you know, the more what the fuck are they called? I forgot. But they're like things that you can complete in order to get more fight
Just
money,
like trials or something,
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like you know, fight as this character so many times or something.
Have
like
they
that.
improved the survival mode stuff?
As far as I know, I don't think they've touched that. Yeah, it's a real bummer. The game is still solid, right? Like, you know, it's still the main game at Evo. And whether or not that's because, you know, that's where the biggest prize money is, who knows? But you know, there's still some great moments to be had in that game. But
Yeah.
as like a consumer, like I'm really put off by what they've been putting down for sure.
Remember the good old days?
Yeah, when things
Capcom's
were-
fighting game output.
Yeah, I do. I do
Yeah.
totally.
Shit.
But yeah, I mean, if the inflection in my voice is any indication, I don't know that that's going to be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To bring
people
me
in.
back in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, to bring you back in even.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think he was asking about like newcomers
Oh, okay.
finally signing up for it, but that's maybe not a.
You know, the running joke is always going to be that, you know, that game's like incomplete,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
you know, there's always going
Like,
to be
it's
stupid
really-
jokes like I just made, just like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, they're just now putting in arcade mode.
Really hard to live down that reputation once
Yeah.
they've earned it.
And they've had it for years, you know,
Yeah.
with different iterations of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So, but man, you know, the game is good. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing really truly wrong with it. I just like I feel a little butt
Filthy.
hurt,
A little burned.
a little butt hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, for whatever reason. But
Uh,
there's so many other good fighters out there right now. And that's partially why I'm, you know, kind of steering away from Street Fighter a little bit. You know, there's a lot of good options. It's a resurgence of
True.
fighting games right now.
A lot of fighting games
Mhm.
to play. Speaking of the NES Classic, just a slightly weird email from Quentin in Atlanta. In Atlanta this past weekend, Amazon rolled out their treasure truck and began handing out NES Classic editions for $60. Seeing how
Like a
these
physical truck?
seeing as how these have been in high demand and have an insane markup, how can this happen? The Classic is selling for $250 on Amazon's regular site. I figured I may as well pick one up just to have it. Did Amazon just stumble upon a reserve supply, or is something deeper at play here? Either way, I thought it was interesting and wanted your input. I'd never heard of the treasure truck until this email, and then I Googled it, and yeah, like it's some weird thing they've started doing where they're like, hey, maybe the treasure truck is coming to your town, and it's just like literally if it shows up, it will have some like rare or unique special item in it that you can buy because you happen to live there.
I mean, we saw ThinkGeek put up a bunch of NES classics just
Really?
a week ago.
And,
Yeah, like I bought a bundle with a bunch of their like you had to buy it with
It was
junk.
only
A bunch of
bundled.
junk you didn't want.
So I spent like $140 to get it. But the stuff that I'm getting, I can like looking on eBay, it's like, oh shit, that resells for almost what I'm paying for this whole thing.
Yeah,
Like,
The
close
minimum
to
was
it.
like 140. The max was like 350 or something like that.
Something stupid, yeah.
It is kind of weird that to hear that these retailers have just been sitting on stacks of these things.
Yes.
As high as the demand was
I
last
mean,
year.
it's a weird way to like earn attention, right?
I guess
like
so,
maybe
yeah.
during a slow
Yeah,
period.
sure.
But the 250 on Amazon site, that can't be Amazon.
No.
right?
Obviously,
That's a
that's
seller,
obviously
yeah.
resellers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah, that whole treasure truck thing is bizarre. Like, I kind of want to
see the treasure.
keep an eye out for that.
I
It's
know,
like,
right?
It's like an adult ice cream truck or something.
I'm really waiting for one of those Amazon grocery stores where you don't have cashiers. You just walk in and everything's like
Don't they have one
RFID.
around
I
here?
thought we had one right here.
Yeah.
Do no here in town?
Are those?
Yeah.
Are those?
Almost-
I didn't know.
I thought
they
there was
had
only one
started
in
those
Seattle.
yet.
I don't know.
Those things scare me slightly. I don't know.
Just like you walk out and you tap like I left, and then everything gets charged to your Amazon
I
card.
just mean in a societal sense. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh god,
yeah.
this is like the beginning of the end of employment, right? What's going to happen in 10 or 20 years?
as long as we have podcasts.
Completely fucked. Everyone, all of us. Just hope the treasure truck shows up.
Yep.
It saves everybody. Hey, speaking of which, last email was from Ethan. I've lived in the mediocre to great state of Iowa for years and enjoyed the antithesis of techie startups and coast culture. People were nice, humble, and willing to help each other out. Now Iowa's been dubbed the Silicon Prairie. I've only visited San Francisco, sorry. But there's already far too many similarities, and it is concerning. How can I fend off the big data startups and try to keep it contained to San Francisco?
Yeah, I wonder. Like, San Antonio is also like a big up and coming like a tech center.
Yeah.
It's becoming gentrified pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you hear the same thing about Austin. I feel
Right.
like I've
Oh,
seen
maybe that's
similar-
what I meant.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, San Antonio's military, right? I think that must have.
Not sure.
I don't know. I would say one of the ways to fend that off is to have a bunch of places have that happen simultaneously.
Just fucking
and like,
move, man.
well, I mean, distribute it
Yeah.
enough, right? Spread it all out enough that it's not all centralized in one place.
I don't care what he wants, like not to have successful companies in your area.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. Like, they're bulking together for a reason.
So
they're not
tax
gonna-
breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They all kind of come together. So
It's
I
the
don't know, I
cultural
think
influence, right? Like,
Yeah,
what
I
it
don't
You
know.
can't stop
I
it, man.
think
Just,
this area
No, you
is
can't.
this area is proof that you can have too much of a good thing.
yeah.
And it can happen
I love
fast.
sure.
It can happen real fast. Damn.
Say your rent was to go up several $100s over the course of 3 years.
I had when I first moved
I don't wanna
here
talk about it.
in
Yeah,
2004. I had my own apartment in Nob Hill for $700 a month.
Dude, that's
God.
fucking like that is mind blowing. I bet those same places are going for $3,000 now.
I moved
easily.
out like 2007 and
Studio?
it went up. Yeah, I moved out 2007 and it went up to 13, I think. And it was
Oh,
even
yeah.
better because it had a Murphy bed,
Yeah.
a queen size Murphy bed, so I could
neat.
literally just put my
Yeah.
bedroom
Yeah.
away and then reclaim all that space.
And I mean, 07 was in the market was down. That was
oh shit, but
like, that was
it
the
had to have
housing-
climbed
that was
a
that
little
was in the
bit.
middle of the housing crash. Like now, yeah, I guarantee those places are going for $3,000 or more.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Mm.
Yeah. Ethan also mentions to Jason.
Hi.
The Iowa State Fair blows Minnesota out of the water.
Fuck that, dude.
Damn.
You want-
featuring such foods as the apple taco, cheesy fried enchilada funnel cake, and
Mhm.
more.
Ooh.
Sounds interesting.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Let me punch this into my calorie counter and see what's a cheesy
Right.
fried enchilada funnel cake.
I don't even know how. I don't even know how you would spec that out. Oh gosh, he's got a link here to. No.
What?
They,
What?
they have a pork leg.
Just a
Holy
like a
shit!
pork? Well, that's easy. You just chop
Yeah.
it like a fucking pig and fry it.
Yeah.
Turkey is very last year. Go get myself a pork leg.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow,
is in
they have a
vogue right
picture
now.
of the cheesy fried enchilada funnel cake. That
Oh,
thing looks
yeah.
horrifying. There's the apple taco,
Can you click on it to get to see if there's a
Pan-
calorie count? Oh,
pancake taco, the big pork leg,
They make them bigger?
the
That's
golden
that's the back one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
do they have nutrition information? That's
golden
what I need
fry
to know.
choco paco. Hang on, for the funnel cake.
I'm
Yeah, just
upset.
click on it and see.
No.
Right, I'm upset. Why are
Ah.
you freaking out about the Iowa State Fair when I was
don't know,
talking
man.
about the Minnesota? You should
What-
be freaking out over the
What does the Minnesota State Fair have to offer me?
I fucking listed a whole bunch of shit.
I don't
last night.
know.
42 new items this year.
They have an
There's a PDF.
they have an item on this list called the popcorn cow. I really don't know where else to go from there.
Again, the lack of calorie counts is somewhat concerning.
Yeah, they really go out of their way not to list any nutritional information.
I
Here.
just want to know for curiosity's sake. I lost my sweet tooth as I grew up, and even like huge meals now are kind of tough. But I'm just
Oh
curious.
man, this is coming up in like a week and a half.
Let's go.
Maybe we should go to the
And
Iowa
to
State
Minnesota-
Fair.
God damn it!
When is the Minnesota State Fair?
Right now.
Let's
go.
It's not going to help me.
Always in summer.
Fuck.
Yep.
No.
Only got one state fair a year in me.
Minnesota State Fair.
I gotta pick and choose.
There's a bowl of dough.
Yeah.
Fried
We went through this last week.
Or it's probably just cookie dough.
Yeah.
Just fucking eat the whole. Oh yes.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Those are the emails for the week. Thank you guys for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like to come on when I can.
Yeah. How's your monitor?
Oh, it's awesome. A little bit of backlight bleed. That's the
Okay.
only problem
Well,
I
that
have. But I
sucks.
don't
Oh,
notice
man.
it during gameplay. So
How do you deal with it?
yeah, I really wish more stuff had 20. Like I really wish Fallout 4 had 21 Sorry, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just stretched.
Yes.
That's all it
I
is.
feel for you, man. I
Yeah.
feel for you.
It's tough. I'm eating ramen for a while, but
Yeah,
it's
shit.
well worth it. Holy shit.
What kind of ramen?
Probably just whatever I can make.
Yeah.
Sous vide ramen.
Only the highest class.
Do you spruce up the ramen at all?
Yeah. Do you throw anything in there?
I was joking. I actually don't eat much top ramen
Some
anymore.
shallots.
Oh, okay.
It's more like
chicken
string
or something?
cheese and cheap shit like that.
String cheese in your ramen? I could get.
Hey. I'm not in Korea yet.
Just throw some fucking sriracha in there. or
Soft boiled
something.
egg, baby.
Yeah.
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 We have eggs.
Eggs are good. Eggs go in everything. All right, that's gonna do it for the podcast. We got stuff happening on the site this week.
Do we now?
All kinds of stuff.
Should mention there are
Uh,
still the pre-orders for the. This is my first E3 and the other.
Yes,
the new,
t-shirts.
The
T-shirts.
Nobody Wins shirt.
Yes.
is still going on.
In all kinds of
Crazy colors.
fruit flavors.
Supposed to be on till I think.
I got banana.
This
Yeah, banana.
Friday. What is
Yeah.
it?
I got a gray one.
But
Yeah, what flavor is that?
Ash.
Cement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apropos.
Concrete.
Get them
Everything.
now.
Everything is the taste of ash in 2017. All right, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. See you then.